Hello everybody and welcome to the 15th round of the 2004 Formula 1 season here for the Italian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, and it's of course the home place of Ferrari, also dubbed as the Temple of Speed after, I don't know where I was going with that, but it is the fastest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar, and I'm joined today once again by Nils Hartl.
Hello everybody.
We are here with 4 races remaining in the championship to go. This is round 15 of round 18, and after this round, this will also be, yes, the last round in the European season. So we've got this round at Monza, and then the next round is the debut of the Shanghai circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Then we've got 2 classics in Suzuka and Interlagos. So we're really going down to the business end of this season. As in the championship standings, it's also business at the top, with the 2 McLarens now jostling for the championship. Raikkonen gunning for his first, and Michael Schumacher going for a record 6th in the sport. Only Juan Manuel Fangio has as many as the German, and 3 race victories in a row possibly points to him once again being favourites. Giorgio Pantano is in 3rd, although will not score another point for the rest of the season, as if you did miss the Belgian Grand Prix, he had a fairly sizable crash at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps at the Les Combes chicane following a brake failure, and the Renault man is out. He is injured for the rest of the season, and Renault's test and reserve driver is in the car. More to follow on that in a short while, as Jarno Trulli will be hoping to get victory here today. Of course, Ferrari being the home place of Ferrari, and as an Italian driver as well, he'll be wanting to get one last Ferrari win under his belt before his move to BAR, as that was announced last race. Sperrifico also got a great result at Toyota to go over 20 points for the season. He's really gone under the radar in what is officially his first season in Formula 1. He did have a couple races back in 2003 for Prost, but never qualified for a race. Then we've got the 2 Dams. Ralf Schumacher as well, picking up a podium, a fantastic result for him. Puts him ahead of Alexander Wurz, who of course has not been in the car since the 3rd round, or the 4th round of the season if you count the practice session. Fisichella in 15th, as there are the remaining drivers who have scored points this season. 25 drivers in all so far this year, as in the Constructors' Championship it's looking fairly solid for McLaren to take the crown. 21 points they lead with just 4 races remaining, so they cannot win the Constructors' Championship today, although they do have a strong chance in the next coming rounds. 12 teams so far have scored points this season. And Nils, what do you think about Michael Schumacher's chances of taking the championship lead today?
Definitely is up to the car's reliability once again, depending on if he got the more delicate Mercedes engines or the more delicate McLaren again, compared to Raikkonen. Raikkonen obviously, I think, retired last time around in Belgium for the first time since Monaco, so momentum definitely is in his favor, but we know that Michael can get quite unlucky with his machinery. Other than that, I feel like it's basically Michael's to lose at this point. I don't think Raikkonen has the pace or has the experience to compete with Michael in the last 4 races. But if it's not, Italy's probably the one where Raikkonen is at a disadvantage compared to Michael. Then at Shanghai next time round, probably both are more equal in terms of knowledge on the track as well. But I have to pick something up that you accidentally said. Ferrari, the home place of Ferrari, is quite excellent.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like it's really in between Raikkonen and Michael. I don't think anybody can get close to them anymore, especially with Pantano now being out for the rest of the season.
And in the practice standings, Ferrari was actually on top, with Jarno Trulli taking top honours by 0.4 of a second. You'll quickly realise though that the time's probably not indicative of the true pace of the field, as it was once again a washout in the session. This time, rather than going from wet to dry is what it was in Spa, it was a intermediate to monsoonal session. So those drivers that set lap times earlier on in the session had the big advantage. Of course, Jarno Trulli, ever the master in the wet, barring Michael Schumacher, was in first. Rubens Barrichello just behind in third place, with Alonso splitting the two. Drivers out of position. Justin Wilson up there in 7th place. Mark Webber 2 places ahead and Zonta 2 places behind. Jenson Button also in the top 10. Michael Schumacher down in 12th. Montoya and Villeneuve were massively down the order as well, as Jean-Christophe Bouillon, who will be taking Giorgio Pantano's seat for the remainder of the season, was 6 seconds off the pace very nearly and down in 19th place. So without further ado then, let's jump straight into the hour-long qualifying session around the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Welcome in everybody, by the way. Horizon says it's Temple of Speed time. It sure is. We are here for the qualifying session. Of course, those teams that have probably got an advantage in straight line speed will probably benefit quite a lot. So I imagine teams such as Toyota and Opel to probably be up there comparatively to their regular grid positions, as those two teams are pretty fast in a straight line. Red Bull as well, keep an eye out for those guys, as Jenson Button will be the first one out there on circuit. Of course, the underpowered Cosworth engine powering that Jaguar. Could there be a chance that we see once more, as in Montreal, a potential for a Jaguar double DNQ?
I'm pretty certain that we will see at least one of the Jaguars not qualified, that being Cristiano D'Amata. I feel like Button has the talent to somehow scrape through with the Jaguar, even though the Cosworth engine is quite abysmal. But I feel like if one of the Jaguars falling at the hurdle, it's definitely D'Amata, not Jenson Button.
I didn't say as well, but welcome in everybody else. FF, Gallifreyan and Daniel. Welcome in everybody, as well as everyone else who has joined the stream so far. Of course, with the point system, how it works is, as in real life in 2004, 10 points for the winner, 8 for second, 6 for third, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down to 8th position, which would mean, regardless of where Kimi Raikkonen finishes, if Michael Schumacher were able to complete his 7th victory of the season here today, regardless of whether Raikkonen finished second or elsewhere in the field, then Michael Schumacher would be in the championship lead. Of course, he's only ever finished one race this season that has not been a win, and that was the first race of the season back in Australia, where he finished in 4th, and that was only due to him picking up damage earlier on and having to carve his way through the field. So when Michael's car is at maximum capacity, well, at full tilt basically, there's basically not been any stopping Michael Schumacher this season, but it's just like Nils has said, the reliability of the McLaren has probably been the one thing that has let down the team more than anything. Hello Luca, welcome in. D'Amata's slowness is almost iconic. To be fair, D'Amata has been there or thereabouts with Button most of the time. He just really struggles when their car just doesn't suit the circuit, and it really shows itself up as a quite an embarrassing result when he fails to qualify, and Jenson Button is quite far up the order. But I think on a couple occasions, not too many, that we've seen D'Amata actually out-qualify Jenson Button this season, although it has not been one of the closer teammate battles on the grid. Jenson Button then with the 29.2 to set the benchmark in the first sector.
One is Williams bound, the other one has no seat at the current moment, so could also be an indicator on D'Amata's end in Formula 1. Even though he showed promise.
Yeah, 2002 to 2004 has been the span of Cristiano D'Amata's career, barring one race that he did for BAR in 2001. Drove for Minardi in 02, and was pretty fast there actually. Quite a lot of the time he was very far up the qualifying order. I think in Monaco 02 in the Minardi he was as high as 5th before serving a 3-place grid penalty, and also led that race at points as Jenson Button to the top of the timing sheets with a 1:28.3. Fernando Alonso, the first of the front runners out there on circuit. Frisacker though going faster surprisingly than the Jaguar. This could be very decisive on Jaguar's weekend if the Bootsons are faster, of course. We've often seen that if you're faster than the Bootsons, you're usually making it through onto the grid, but if you're slower than them, then it's time for panic stations a little bit. Alonso, though, shouldn't fall foul of that, as he is 1.7 seconds up through the first 2 sectors. Williams could sign Kovalainen for 2005 if they have one or put 2 free seats for 2005. Funny that you say that, because we do have to get with the news. Let me pull the first thing up.
That was a good one.
So, let's talk about Giorgio Pantano as his teammate goes to pole position. We'll focus on Nicolas Manassian as well as he completes his first lap in the session. Giorgio Pantano's championship's challenges come to a devastating end after the Renault F1 team confirmed the Italian will miss at least the remainder of the 2004 season following his enormous crash at the Belgian Grand Prix at the Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps. Pantano suffered the accident at a catastrophic brake failure into the fearsome Les Combes chicane, with telemetry reported registering an impact of approximately 205 km an hour. Medical examinations conducted after the race confirmed that the Italian sustained broken ankles in both legs, ending what had been the strongest season of his Formula One career. Pantano had entered Spa firmly in contention for the Drivers' Championship, but his retirement, combined with victory for Michael Schumacher, has dramatically reshaped the standings. With just 4 rounds remaining, the Italian now sits virtually no realistic path back into the title fight, as the impact on Renault's Constructors' campaign could prove equally severe. Already trailing McLaren Mercedes by 21 points after Belgium, losing one of the grid's most consistent scorers at this stage of the season, leads the French outfit facing an uphill battle to remain in contention. I think someone else was going purple in the first. I'm not sure where I exactly saw that, unless it was Timo Glock, who has gone faster than Nicolas Manassian. Thiago Monteiro, though, still, even despite the upgraded nature of that Minardi, is still quite a ways off the rest of the grid in terms of straight line speed, and is currently 4.5 seconds off the pace. As we see Pedro de la Rosa making his way around the final corner. He'll be hoping today will be the day that both Opels can hopefully perform to a sufficient level to potentially score points today, but he cannot quite match his teammate. He's 3/10 off as of right now. Renault have confirmed the veteran Frenchman Jean-Christophe Bouillon will step into the seat beginning at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Bouillon, currently serving as the team's test and reserve driver, will make his first Grand Prix start since the opening 2 rounds of the 2003 season. Bouillon's previous Formula One appearances came with BIR during the opening stages of 03, though both outings ended in retirement. Now, more than a year later, the experienced Frenchman unexpectedly finds himself returning to the grid with machinery capable of fighting near the front. However, this will challenge him to an immense degree. Replacing a driver who's emerged as a genuine title contender was always going to be difficult, and Renault will be hoping desperately that Bouillon can stabilise their campaign through the closing stages of the season. So, I think, yeah, in terms of the constructors, I think that's going to be now pretty much McLaren's to lose at this current stage. Granted, Jean-Christophe Bouillon on his day is a solid driver, but I don't think he's going to be able to match the highs that Giorgio Pantano's put in that car this season.
Also, to take in consideration with him is that he has not been in a race seat since, well, standing in for, I think it was Coulthard in 2003 at the start of the season.
Yes, correct.
So, there's definitely race rust for him as well, and Bouillon was probably already shown out by his lesser experienced and now current teammate Fernando Alonso in 2001 as well. So I feel like Bouillon is just there to maybe scrape into the points and hope that McLaren drop them even further.
Antonio Pizzoni with a brilliant start to his lap as he's currently purple through the first sector. I don't know what's happened there, but he is currently faster than the works car of Kimi Raikkonen. Of course, the McLaren Mercedes versus the Brabham Mercedes, although Raikkonen is faster than the Brazilian through the second sector by half a second. So maybe Raikkonen made a mistake, not entirely sure, as Massa's pretty close in the Red Bull Lamborghini, as well as across the line for Pizzoni, second place on the grid right now. He qualified quite high up here last season, if I recall correctly. He was either second or third on the grid in the Toyota, just behind, I believe it was Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard. Raikkonen, though, takes top honours at the front of the field. He needs a win. I know we've been joking about potentially, he could win the championship without actually winning a race. But if he wants to win this championship, he has to win here.
I mean, if he doesn't win a race, he essentially leaves the door open to Michael winning it, even with 1 or 2 retirements sprinkled in. So, he definitely needs to get his first win of the season at one point, bar it being here or maybe in the next 2 rounds, but I would not leave it that far down the order.
Do you want to talk us through the next news article?
We get it up.
The one involving boots in it is.
Boots. Oh, that one.
Yes, that
one. Boutsen secure a Ferrari partnership for 2005, a major boost for Belgian squad. Boutsen have announced a landmark technical partnership with Scuderia Ferrari for the 2005 Formula 1 season, confirming the team will switch to Ferrari customer engines as part of the dramatically expanded relationship between the two outfits. The agreement also sees highly rated GP2 talents Heikki Kovalainen and Enrico Torricello join the Belgian team on loan from Ferrari next season. It marks the biggest step forward yet for Boutsen since entering Formula 1. Ferrari backing transforms Boutsen's outlook since their arrival on the grid. Boutsen have often found themselves fighting merely to qualify, hampered largely by the lack of outright performance from the aging Asiatech power units. While the team has shown flashes of competitiveness, particularly through recent recruit Ricardo Zonta, the machinery has constantly lacked the pace to challenge the midfield regularly. That could now change dramatically. Ferrari's customer engines are expected to provide substantial increase in horsepower and reliability, potentially allowing Boutsen to move away from the back of the grid and towards genuine points contention in 2005. Kovalainen earns long-awaited Formula 1 chance. The headline driver signing is undoubtedly Kovalainen. The young Finn has emerged as one of the standout stars of the inaugural GP2 campaign, dominating much of the season with a combination of outright speed and remarkable consistency. Many within the paddock already view him as Finland's next major Formula 1 prospect, following the footsteps of Kimi Raikkonen and Mika Häkkinen. Ferrari's decision to replace him at Boutsen appears designed to accelerate his development in competitive Grand Prix environment. Torricello rewarded with impressive Ferrari cameo. Joining him will be fellow Ferrari-backed prospect Torricello. The Italian made a strong impression earlier this season when debuting for Jarno Trulli and Ferrari, immediately demonstrating composure and pace despite his lack of Formula 1 experience. Though still searching for his first GP2 victory, Torricello's consistency and adaptability clearly convinced Ferrari that he was ready for the full-time opportunity. Thierry Boutsen excited for a new chapter. Team owner Thierry Boutsen described the agreement as the beginning of a major new era for the team. Has been quoted as, "This is an enormous step for our organization. Ferrari are the benchmark in Formula 1 and to have their trust and support gives everyone inside the team tremendous motivation. We know there's still a lot of work ahead of us, but with stronger engines, 2 very exciting young drivers, we believe we can move closer to midfield next season." Heikki and Enrico are both exceptional talents. Giving younger drivers an opportunity has always been something important to this team. With Ferrari support arriving in one of the most exciting rookie pairings on the 2005 grid now confirmed, Boutsen suddenly look far more than merely a survival story. For the first time since entering Formula 1, the Belgian squad may generally have the tools to fight their way forward. There we go.
So yeah, Boutsen Energy Racing essentially signing Ferrari engines, and have also signed a whole new driver lineup with Heikki Kovalainen and Enrico Torricello. As Timo Glock, a fantastic lap there from him as he goes onto the front row of the grid just behind Kimi Raikkonen. Patrick Friesacker, who is coincidentally in the Boutsen, is also out there right now, and he is down in
10th.
There he is. Jarno Trulli also out there on circuit right now. And yeah, Thierry Boutsen, this is basically make or break for him, I think, in the world of Formula 1. He, alongside... No, that's it, actually. Of the teams currently on the grid, Boutsen is actually the only team to never score points. They came close in Japan last season with a 10th place finish courtesy of Shinji Nakano, but have actually never finished in the top 8 once. They've been getting stronger and stronger as the season's gone on this season, but I'm sure that with the Ferrari engine versus the Agitek, they'll able to, like Nils said, be able to push themselves further up the order, and who knows, maybe a consistent point score, especially with the strong lineup. I think outside of Formula 1, it's probably outside of drivers outside of Formula 1, I mean. Yep, that's what I mean. It's probably one of the strongest lineups on the grid, I would say. I don't know if you would feel the same about that.
I mean, Kovalainen was definitely on the hit list of every team. I can safely say he was on my list as well. Barrichello, on the other hand, has probably surprised people with his performances at Ferrari this season, coming close to points on both his drives. But will be interesting to see if the good chassis from this season will be converted over to fit the Ferrari next season. Definitely will be interesting to see if the team can manage to fit a new complete engine unit and probably a gearbox in the back of that car, considering that the current Boutsen is designed around an Agitek that they had exclusive rides to, so will be interesting to see how the team managed that.
Rubens Barrichello then 7th place, and he's over 2 seconds over now pole sitter Jarno Trulli, as he's gone 9/10 faster than anyone else through the first run in the qualifying session. Alex Jung is improving. He's slowest of all right now, just behind his teammate Tiago Montero and Tom Coronel. Scott Dixon across the line in the other BAR, and he goes 13th fastest. So I imagine that we'll see as the session goes on, the times tumble fairly quickly as the Malaysian will make his way up towards the line, and it is into the 1:28 for him and ahead of Cristiano D'Amata. Pittoni is also improving as he is in a very strong 5th position as of right now.
Will be interesting to see if the Brazilian can maybe attract some interest in his services for next season. Definitely with a good qualifying session he can... Oh no.
Oh dear,
Oh,
that
no.
sounds like a big crash then for Giancarlo Fisichella in the Toyota. So let's see what has happened to the Italian. He's actually only just come back after a fairly big crash in qualifying in Japan last year, so hopefully it's not something of a similar stature.
Sounds like a brake fail. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh dear, I think Fisichella might be out, guys. Guys! Fizzy, can you stop throwing it into walls at Mac? Jesus! Oh my... Oh.
Oh,
He's completely totaled the car. He is completely and unequivocally totaled his car, and I think he may have
came back.
I think he may have totaled himself in the process with that one.
That's heavier than Pantonosea. Who even is their test and reserve driver at this point, because
No
Villeneuve
one.
jumped ship.
They've not got one. They'll have to sign someone. So that is Giancarlo Fisichella's session over. I will say, if he goes out there again, then it won't be counted. I'm just not gonna. He's not gonna qualify for the race. So that is actually 2 failures to qualify in a row for Giancarlo Fisichella, but that's probably the least of Toyota's worries as of right now. But he will definitely not be competing in the Grand Prix after that one. He's only just gone back from injury, man.
Also, there goes one of the potential Ferrari signings.
Oh yeah, we were talking about it, weren't we? As a potential return to Ferrari for Fisichella, and now, oh dear me.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
At this point, Ferrari were probably better off signing Kovalainen into this team. Oh god.
Okay. So Michael Schumacher then completing his first run in the session, and he goes 3rd place, albeit over a second slower. What message did you delete?
I didn't. Well, by accident.
Okay.
By accident, got on Horizon and like deleted his message or something like that.
I think what it is that he launched off the ground, and because he's got no wheels, he doesn't necessarily have a spawn point, Jeffrey, I think is the problem. That's why he teleported. But yeah, we're going to assume that he has just smacked the wall extremely hard after a brake failure in that Toyota. Jean-Christophe Bouillon is also out there on circuit right now.
There was like 250 at that point still, so there's no way he's walking away from that one.
Yeah. For certain, we'll miss... Oh my god, I just realised it's his home Grand Prix as well. Oh dear me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. So Giancarlo Fisichella, that means that there is now a free spot open in the top 26, as it currently stands. As Nick Heidfeld, 13th fastest as of right now. I imagine he will improve on his second lap, however. Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Renault will make his way round the final couple of corners. Of course, returning to the Formula 1 grid after competing between the years of 1995, not being in Formula 1 for a couple of years, then returning with Tyrrell in 1998, replacing Ricardo Rosset mid-season, driving for Sauber in 99, where he got his first career podium, 2000, where he drove for Prost, 2001, where he scored 2 more podiums for Prost, and 2002, which ended his full-time reign in Formula 1, became the test driver at BAR, and yeah, did a couple races in that team when Coulthard was injured at the end of the season of 2002, that is. Raikkonen's out there on circuit once more.
Also improving for the first and second sector, Bouillon only 17 fastest in the meantime. Currently behind Pedro de la Rosa. Across the line, 25.098 for the Finn. 4 attempts down on Jarno Trulli still.
Ralf Schumacher as well, making his way around the final corner, of course off the high of that fantastic podium that he scored in Spa, with a 3rd place, fending off Ricardo Zonta, who will be the sole Toyota in this race, as he goes up to 12th place in the qualifying session. Surprisingly though, behind Patrick Friesacker. Felipe Massa's also gone faster than Jarno Trulli through the first sector. So where is Felipe Baby? Stay cool. There he is. Coming through the Lesmo corners now, Jacques Villeneuve in the Williams could potentially be an option for Toyota next season, especially if we find out the condition after the Grand Prix of Giancarlo Fisichella. But for Felipe Massa, though, he is 7 tenths up through the first 2 sectors and could be potentially challenging Kimi Raikkonen here to make his way onto the front row of the grid. 23 minutes in, and the order currently is Trulli, Raikkonen, Schumacher, fairly usual, and then you've got Timo Glock in the Opel, Pittonia in the Brabham, Alonso just stuck in between Massa and Wilson as well. So it's very topsy-turvy in the current top
Massa
10.
third.
And as I say that, Massa's just gone faster than Michael Schumacher. So the Red Bull really being dialed in quite nicely by the Brazilian. His teammate, though, yet to see out on circuits.
Effectively also Red Bull's second home race of the season, or third home race of the season with Lamborghini power. Obviously, Lamborghini, Italian car manufacturer, so probably want to have a good result around here as well.
Who is on a lap? Jensen Button's on a lap, but I think he made a mistake through the first sector because he's down quite a bit through the first two sectors. So we'll see if he manages to pull anything out the bag through the last part of the corner. Last part of the lap, I should say, and does not improve actually on his lap time, stays in 13th. Good thing you checked on the onion, you were dangerously close to cremating it. Damn, that's the good timing then. What meet have we got today then, Gallifreyan? Sector times, currently, Timo Glock fastest, Trulli fastest in the second and third sectors. So clearly Opel have got quite a bit of pace in a straight line, as Fernando Alonso is currently out there on circuit, down in 7th place as of right now, and he is Renault's only hope in a Drivers' Championship this season, and realistically should be the main bread maker in terms of getting points to potentially win them the Constructors' Championship as well, but it's also going to require a monumental effort from Jean-Christophe Bouillon for them to have any chance this season.
Yeah, like Bouillon is actually at risk of not qualifying if he doesn't pick up the pace, so
I think it was
could be
only
a disaster for Renault.
I think it was only a first lap for him, so I expect him to go quite a bit faster. You got Lamb today, had a tough week and you wanted a treat. You deserve it then. Hope you enjoy that whenever that has finished cooking. As across the line for Alonso, a much more competitive lap as he goes third fastest, but still over half a second away from the front of the grid, which is quite strange to see considering Ferrari is not especially fast in a straight line this season. Scott Dixon is making his way around the final corner.
With the special Sims 2 livery.
Oh yes, it has. They are sponsored by EA, of course, and are showing off the new release of the Sims 2 video game. So that's why they have got that sponsorship on the side of the car. Dixon then, only 20th with that lap. I'm not exactly sure what's just happened with him on that lap, as Alex Young, the guy directly behind him, is currently on a lap as well. Let me pull up the
and it's improving, I think.
Yeah, let me pull up the next news thing. So, Glock retained by Opel for 2005 despite mixed campaign. Opel have confirmed that Timo Glock will remain with the team for the 2005 Formula 1 season, extending a partnership that will now enter its third consecutive year. The decision ends speculation surrounding the young German's future after another inconsistent campaign alongside teammate Pedro de la Rosa. Alex Young there has just stayed in 21st, actually. He's not improved on his position, but I do think he improved by about half a second in terms of his time. So, yeah, he's about, 6/10 now off Scott Dixon, as the man that we're looking on board with, his teammate, is out there on circuit right now. So, while Opel had hoped that Glock would make a major leap forward following a difficult 2003, much of 2004 has instead seen the German continue to play second fiddle to the experienced Spaniard. Glock's raw speed has still shown itself at times throughout the season, particularly over one lap pace. The 22-year-old has frequently delivered competitive qualifying performances and occasionally matched De La Rosa for outright pace, but race execution and consistency have remained a major weakness. A combination of incidents, time management struggles and reliability issues have often left him unable to convert decent grid positions into points finishes. Despite that, Opel management remain convinced that there is a substantial long-term potential still waiting to be unlocked. Quote from the team principal Jack Tractive, Timo is still a rough diamond. We need to see speed every weekend and sometimes still people forget how young he is. This season has not always gone the way that he or the team would have liked, but obviously we believe that he has the potential to become a great driver in Formula 1. Continuity is important to us as a team, as we think giving the same lineup keeps us with the best chance of progressing. While Opel have publicly reaffirmed their confidence in Glock, the extension is unlikely to remove the growing pressure around his future. Several media outlets have suggested that 2005 could effectively become a make-or-break season for the German, with an increasingly competitive crop of drivers emerging from GB2 and other junior categories. Another underwhelming campaign could potentially leave Glock fighting to stay on the grid beyond next year. However, Opel are choosing stability. I think this is a good move. Obviously, still, Glock is very, very young at this current stage of his career, 22 years of age. He's also quite a bit more inexperienced compared to his teammate De La Rosa, not only in the world of Formula 1, but also in motorsport as a whole. And do you think that Glock will be able to find this much-needed improvement that actually puts him on par with De La Rosa next season?
Depends if he can finally find the extra bit of talent that he probably has. Because we are now in his second season. Well, second and bit season, essentially. And depending on how he can get his mind into this game, get his mind into driving a car against his teammate as Montoya is a problem.
Gearbox issues for him, as De La Rosa has just gone 4th fastest in the Opel, which is 3 places higher than his teammate Timo Glock. So Opel really proving to have a good turn of pace around here. We did predict it, but probably not at this this amount of pace, really.
As Glock is also out on circuit currently. But Glock was there or thereabout constantly in terms of qualifying positions with De La Rosa. Just has to find the extra bit now in the races, convert his good qualifying results also in good race results. Other than that, if he doesn't find that extra bit, he's probably on the out after 2005.
So for Cristiano De Mata then, as another driver that could potentially be on the chopping blocks at the end of 04, needs this lap, but he's only capable of going 19th fastest. He's still sitting about 2 tenths away from his teammate as it currently stands, as Timo Glock completes his next lap in the qualifying session. If Alex Young is racing at Monza, who's currently doing the co-driver duties for Sundown and Bathurst at Mark Nosk's WPS Falcon on V8 Supercars? That is a great question, Maximiliano. Welcome in. And now I do not have a clue. So yeah, the career mode goes deep, just not that deep.
That's pit entry.
Tom Coronel needs a good lap here. So does Scott Dixon, actually. The two BARs look very, very vulnerable around this Italian circuit. And if Coronel doesn't find about maybe a 2 seconds of time here, then he could be on the out here, but he has found 2.5 seconds through the first 2 sectors, so this could be a much needed improvement for him, of course, as he sits just ahead of Montero in terms of the drivers that have set lap times. We're also not counting, by the way, if you're new or if you've just joined, we're not counting Fisichella's lap times. He's just gone out on circuit. We're not counting his lap times, so just ignore whatever he does. He is out of the session because of the massive crash that he just had. As Coronel has just gone 11th fastest. So a much more well-received lap from the team as he moves between Manassin and Frisak. Frisak is still up there in 12th place.
We were saying, we were talking about the Asiatech not doing well around here. They're 12th and 18th currently. Ahead of better engine suppliers. So could prove us wrong. As Raikkonen now starts his, I think, 3rd lap of the session in total.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Another news report. So we've got a lot of news actually in this into this weekend. for the people that really wanted to know who was going to be the second driver at Harrison Motorsport, this one's for you. Harrison Motorsport complete 2005 lineup with Sebastian Bourdais signing. New for 2005 outfit, Harrison Motorsport have confirmed that the reigning Super Truck World Challenge champion, Sebastian Bourdais, will partner Takuma Sato in the team's inaugural Formula 1 campaign next season. The announcement completes the British squad's outfit first ever driver lineup and gives Bourdais a full-time return to Formula 1 after spending 2004 away, from Grand Prix racing. The Frenchman arrives with unfinished business in Formula 1. Bourdais made his full-time debut with Brabham in 2003 after a brief yet very successful stint at Dams the previous year, but struggled consistently to match teammate Nick Heidfeld, eventually losing his race seat at the end of the season. Despite flashes of pace, the year was widely viewed as a disappointment relative to his hype surrounding his junior career. Raikkonen improves on his lap, but he's not gone anywhere close still to what Jarno Trulli has been capable of setting in the session. Nick Heidfeld is also out there on circuit right now, but has Justin Wilson for company.
Wilson.
However, Bourdais has rebuilt his reputation impressively over the past 12 months, dominating much of the Super Truck World Challenge and reminding many in the paddock of his raw talent that originally brought him to Formula 1. Now, Harrison Motorsport are betting that a fresh environment and a renewed confidence can unlock that potential. The new pairing also creates one of the most intriguing lineups on the 2005 grid. Like Bourdais, Sato enters the season with significant pressure surrounding his future after a difficult spell with the Honda Racing team. Both drivers possess unquestionable speed, but both have struggled for consistency and results at the top level. For Harrison Motorsport, I can't even read my own name. The hope is that the clean slate atmosphere of a brand new team can allow both men to flourish away from the expectations and scrutinies of much more established outfits. Bourdais quoted to say, "I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity. Formula 1 did not go the way I wanted to the first time, but I believe that I've matured as a driver in a lot of ways since then. Winning this year has rebuilt my confidence, and now I feel ready to prove myself again at this level. This project is exciting because everyone is building something new together. There is real hunger within the team, and I want to be part of helping Harrison Motorsport grow." Do you think this is a good signing then for the team?
Probably better than Sato is. Bourdais is a proven points finisher. Definitely in a much more inferior car than he had last season, actually. Just was unlucky that he couldn't get points or couldn't get a decent result, considering that he, quite frankly, had the more delicate Mugen Honda power last season. But I feel like Bourdais is probably more the lead driver, considering where currently Sato sits. He's literally behind Alex Young on the second lap, so I feel like Bourdais is probably Harrison's only hope.
Yeah, I think Sato is more signed for the Honda deal with the engine supply, of course. By the way, if you want to know, it's Antonio Garcia that's the team's test driver. I've already signed him, and I've already signed the other test driver. That's Alexandros Margaritis. I've already got it locked down. I've got the full lineup already.
I also love how we literally talk about drivers who actually are signed with a team in chat. Once again, seeing that I think the test driver is Clean or Carbone. Like, Clean is signed.
Yeah, Clean's already... Clean has a full-time seat for 2005 that's already been confirmed to be with the rebadged Brabham team, which is to be Austrian for 2005. Fabio Carbone is still in GP2 as it currently stands and does not have any links to any Formula 1 teams as of right now. On to the upgrades now, where McLaren have fetched a brand new engine, which will improve their horsepower. Renault also target top speed gains with aerodynamic refinement. That is with their body, which they have managed to reduce in terms of drag. BAR have also fetched a, I think it's front wing downforce and front wing drag. I was actually wrong in the news, so that's my bad. Meanwhile, for Toyota, they have reduced their car's weight as well, so expect those guys to be up there as Sperifico, 9th place as of right now. In the in 8th place right now, in the only Toyota on the grid. Brabham have also fetched a new rear wing, looking to increase rear end stability.
I love the last sentence of the Toyota upgrade news. The upgrade also arrives as Giancarlo Fisichella appears to have discovered his rhythm following his lengthy injury absence earlier in the year. Some subtle foreshadowing in that one.
Yeah. Hello, Keo. Welcome in, by the way. If you're wondering what we're talking about, we're on about Giancarlo Fisichella. On his first run, he had a horrendous brake failure in towards turn 1 and just smacked into the wall so hard that the car teleported. So, yeah, he is not competing in this session, and no laps that he will do will count towards the qualifying session.
As Michael is only 1/10 down on Jarno Trulli through the first sector. Will be interesting to see where Michael Schumacher can put the McLaren compared to his teammate, seeing that Raikkonen is a bit further behind than what is expected of him at the current stage of the season.
And I've got to say, even with the expectation that Opel would perform better around this circuit, I think De La Rosa and Glock are certainly exceeding expectations, as De La Rosa currently on the front 2 rows of the grid, which would be by far and away their best qualifying.
He's on the 3rd row.
He's on the 3rd row now because Michael Schumacher moves up to 4th place and he moves down to 5th.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
I'm trying to avoid that Fisichella exists as much as possible now.
Forgot about it already.
Montoya will be the last driver to set a lap time in the session. He had a gearbox failure on his first run, so hopefully for him, he will be able to make his way around this first lap without any trouble with his car as he now begins his first lap in the session. Do you want to take us through a lap, Nils?
God, I don't know the curve names. Heading into the first chicane, it has been reprofiled in 2000 following complaints about the overtake opportunities there. Now heading through heading into Curva Grande. Long sweeping right-hander. Great to get a slingshot into the next chicane. That has also been reprofiled in the past, down to around 100 k's over the curbs. Now through heading into Lesmo 1. Much more open than in the past, and now heading into Lesmo 2, probably the more crucial one, considering that you're heading onto the next long straight, opening up around here right after the corner, and then around 330 k's onto the brakes around the 100 meter board for the Ascari chicane, named after the former Formula 1 world champion Alberto Ascari, who won for Ferrari in the history. Sticks and goes 16 fastest overall. Now heading into Parabolica, one of the more hard-braking zones around here, though, even though you have a lot of speed through here. Then opening up once again across the start-finish line, and it's probably going to be 126.1, yeah.
So a lap time good enough to send the Colombian into basically the middle of the pack as he moves up to 14th place. I've got to say that Williams looks very, very average around this circuit more than anything, as his teammate Jacques Villeneuve is just 2 places further back, but he has gone for 2 consecutive laps in a row. Scott Dixon did improve on his lap as he heads up to 17th place on the grid as of right now.
As Furman is on a lap, and I think Montoya is doing consecutive laps to make up the time lost in the earlier stages of the session.
Yeah, Ralph Furman down in 25th as of right now. I'm just going to carry on with what it actually says on screen. I'll just say that Fisichella's not set a lap. So Ralph Furman down in 26th as of right now, and he is improving on his first lap. His first lap was actually fairly awful considering the pace of the dams as of recent, but of course the Cosworth power unit will probably take them back a couple of places on the grid, and it's only 16th place for Ralph Furman and 4/10 off Nicholas Manassian. We have seen so many times this season Ralph Furman ahead of Nicholas Manassian. This time though, I don't think we are going to see such thing as, speaking of Manassian, he's just been knocked down a peg by Juan Pablo Montoya as he goes on to the sixth row of the grid, and he is indeed doing another lap. Pitsonia, though, is having a great time of it right now. Can't quite improve, though, on his next lap.
Leon needs that improvement. Currently sitting only in 11th. As De La Rosa is not improving on his next flyer, 1 second down on his personal best.
Yeah, it seems a lot of drivers may have made mistakes or have ended up getting held up by other drivers. I think in the case of Bouillon, he may have made a mistake as he was about a second down through the first sector on his previous best. He has improved by 0.4 though through the middle part of the lap as he currently finds himself 8 places below his teammate. Pedro de la Rosa also, like you said, did not find time, and as of right now he sticks himself into 6th position as of right now. The Renault driver then will round the final corner, and we'll see if he's capable of knocking Pitsonia out of the top 10. He is unable to, despite 2 green sectors. Certainly some issue that he had in the first sector prevents him from going up ahead of the Brazilian.
Takuma Sato, in the meantime, has left the pit lane once again to somehow salvage his qualifying session. Montoya does not improve on his position, stays 12th. Coronel sitting only in 14th at the moment. Probably not what Audi or BAR wants to see currently, but they're both are missing their lead driver, essentially, that being David Coulthard still.
He is expected to be back in the next couple of rounds, though, as Coronel not quite improving through the second sector. Takuma Sato, though, desperately needs this lap, as even with Giancarlo Fisichella not setting a lap time in the session, still finds himself in the bottom 4 as of right now. Cristiano D'Amato also under threat in the Jaguar, as we've previously stated. But I've got to say, Nick Heidfeld certainly needs to find some pace. He's done 2 runs, and yet he finds himself 15 places behind Antonio Pitsonia. I don't know that's even managed to occur, to be completely honest, as there's not a lot to get wrong, to be completely honest.
I know why. That pesky Just Wilson.
Okay.
Sato starting his final flying lap, probably, considering we have 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, he desperately needs this lap here, as he has only... Did he fail to qualify in the last race? Or did he make it onto the grid? I can't actually remember.
Let me look at the qualifying results from last time.
He'll be in the championship standings as well.
Oh yeah.
Sato 1/4 of a second up through the first sector.
He did, in fact... he did qualify and finish 13th.
Okay, so if Sato fails to qualify here, then it will be the first time that he does so in his Formula 1 career. There's Timo Glock also out there on circuit in the 27s, and he's actually matched by Jarno Trulli through the first sector.
I think it's a Mandela effect that Sato has not qualified. He has actually qualified for all the races this season, Timo Glock being the one that has not qualified last time around.
So for Sato then, he needs to find maybe 0.5 of a second at least to take him into a decent amount of safety. Well, actually, he needs to find over a second as it currently stands across the line, and he does find over a second, 1.7 seconds to be precise, and he moves up to only 26th place in the order.
I wouldn't consider him safe, considering that D'Amato is currently out on circuit, probably a more capable driver at the current stage in his career.
Oh,
Trulli has a problem.
That's suspension issues for Jarno Trulli completing his next lap in the qualifying session, and he pulls off to the side of the road on the run towards the start-finish line. So Jarno Trulli, whatever issue that caused that, it means that he's potentially now going to curtail his qualifying session early. Meanwhile, for Felipe Massa, he's up in 7th place right now and would desperately love to get ahead of Pedro de la Rosa.
Martinelli across the line, looking to push Sato back into the drop zone, is capable of doing that. Alex Young back out on circuit, Benoit Trollier and Thiago Montero probably want to go out on circuit and challenge the Honda driver as well.
We have to remember, though, that Giancarlo Fisichella will be in the bottom 4 following the qualifying session. So the real danger man right now is Alex Young for Takuma Sato, as across the line for Felipe Massa cannot find time. I don't know if the clouds are beginning to form around the circuit. It seems blue sky on one side and grey on the other, but yeah, it's quite strange that no one's seemingly able to find time in this last part of the session, including Nicolas Manassian.
I just clocked something. Look into who's currently sitting in P21 for Ferrari.
Yes.
Once again, Barrichello not having a good afternoon.
No, definitely not, then. What happened to Fisichella? He came out the pits, had a brake failure, and hit the wall on the exit of the first chicane on the right-hand side at an extreme amount of force and ripped absolutely everything off of his car.
Worse than Pantano.
Yeah, worse than Pantano's crash. If you want to go and see it, go and rewind, I guess. As Timo Glock has finished his qualifying session, as it currently stands, he'll be qualifying in the top 10 for the first time in his Formula 1 career. As Manassian has just completed his lap, he stays in 13th. Dixon is 4 places down on Coronel as of right now.
It would be a miracle if Trulli makes it through qualifying even with the suspension issues. He's sitting on pole position.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be able to pounce and beat Jarno Trulli in this qualifying session, although stranger things have happened. Last race, Alex Young, as now we see Rubens Barrichello. You were saying he's down in 21st place at the moment, but he really needs a good lap here to solidify himself, possibly within the top 10, maybe even the top 5. We'll see what he's capable of doing. Down towards first corner then, and he reaches 349 kilometers an hour before hitting the brakes, dropping all the way from 7th down to first gear, and then bursting out of this corner into the Curva Grande. Flat out it should be in these modern Formula 1 cars, of course. Didn't used to be in the olden days in the 50s and 60s, and Barrichello improving by 3/10 through the first sector, about 100 kilometers an hour for the first apex, second for the 80 for the second apex through the Della Rogia chicane, and then you head through this bumpy first Lesmo, and then this one, of course, re-profiled from 1998 onwards to be almost a second gear corner rather than an almost flat out corner for the teams and drivers to make their way around, and then heavy on the brakes. 340 kilometers turns into 170, so halving your speed as you head through the Ascari chicane. Not a lot of confidence there from Rubens Barrichello as he makes his way now down into the final corner, the Parabolica corner, and this could make or break your lap. Of course, a good exit out of here in the race as well will present great overtaking opportunities if you can get close and in the slipstream of the car in front, and heavy on the brakes in towards the first corner, but across the line then for Barrichello, and he does indeed go into the top 5 there, and about 2/3 of a second away from his teammate, who currently still resides on pole position.
Meantime, Jenson Button is improving at least through the first sector. Would be interesting to see what he's doing through the second sector, but the time comparison between Jarno Trulli and Raikkonen is much more interesting, and now the best time of each sector as well. Pedro Della Rosa still holding the fastest first sector in the meantime. Now rounding the final corner, the Parabolica corner. Across the line goes the Jaguar and jumps up to 24th.
Meanwhile, for Alex Young, he's completed all of his laps in this qualifying session, so he is out. He will not perform similar heroics as to what he did in Belgium, unfortunately for him, as he fails to qualify, at least for now, in 27th position once Fisichella has been had his laps taken off him. Of course, he shouldn't be driving the car, but of course there's nothing I can do about the game. Michael Schumacher, though, is improving through the second sector, but I did see he was 3/10 overall down, and across the line remains to be so. So he, at best, is currently in 4th position right now, and is being out-qualified by his teammate, Kimi Raikkonen. Of course, as it currently stands, Raikkonen leads the way in the championship standings by 2 points ahead of Michael Schumacher. On countback, it would go the way of the German, as he has 6 victories to Kimi Raikkonen's 0.
Fico in the meantime improving. Something about Brazilians doing well in the Toyota around here. Cross the line and goes ahead of Timo Glock to 9th position. Well, 8th position after Fisichella has been removed. Montero in the meantime could trouble Takuma Sato. Potentially Portuguese driver looking to get back onto the grid. Needs around 3 seconds of improvement. Does not find the time required.
That was so close, though. He's only half a tenth away.
Yeah.
If he manages to find a bit more time, if he goes out once more, of course he's only got 7 minutes to go in the session, he could potentially qualify. This could be very close if he gets back out there on circuit again, but of course, time is of the essence for Minardi. Benoit Trulli, as such, now finds himself in the bottom of the order currently. Not even the bottom. I was about to say the bottom 4, but it's not even the bottom 4. He is just last, with his teammates up in 22nd place. He desperately needs to find a lap. Oh, never mind. I didn't even realize.
Montero's 1 second down.
Oh, I thought it was half a tenth. Oh, whatever.
Anyway.
Yep, I know. Speaking of, Sato's completing his next lap in the session. He is improving through the first sector, but not so through the second. He needs to find about 2/10 of an improvement to go alongside his teammate on the 12th row, unable to find that time and actually jump ahead of D'Amata, so he stays in what would be 26th on the grid. Let's see this lap then for Benoit Trulli. It could be decisive for, of course, his weekend. If he doesn't improve by enough, he needs to knock out Takuma Sato. So he needs to find 1.9 seconds worth of improvement on this next lap. Benoit Trulli then into the second sector, and I do not care about the track conditions, but it does seem to be warming up ever so slightly, which is quite surprising considering the lack of time improvements for a lot of the drivers out there on the circuit. It's 28.3 through the first sector, as Heidfeld seems to be running into problems. We'll get a replay of that one in a second, but for Benoit Trulli, he's going to make his way down towards the second sector, and we'll see what the lap time entails for him. He's 1.2 seconds up, so he needs to find 0.7 of a second through this last sector if he wants to qualify. Benoit Trulli or Takuma Sato, pick your poison for the last spot on the grid, as it's going to be down to the wire between these two. Benoit Trulli, of course, powered by Toyota, Honda in the other car of Sato, so this is a direct rival between the two Japanese outfits, and up towards the line then for Benoit Trulli. Is this going to be enough for the Frenchman? It is! It is indeed, up to 25th place. Now, let's get a replay of what happened with Monsieur Heidfeld. Is he just driven into...
Because he drove into Ralph. Oh my god, you... Of course, now the car is removed! Jesus.
That is going to be a front wing on your damage report.
No.
So Trulli then up in 25th place as of right now, which would be enough to send him through, of course. Your last place man currently is Cristiano D'Amata, as Takuma Sato has gone back into the pits. So this could see, for the first time this season, Takuma Sato failed to qualify.
I don't think anybody here is currently, well, will improve anymore, because both, the corpse is out on circuit, and Benoit Trulli is still out and looking to improve even further on his lap time, so potentially could threaten Jenson Button.
Ralph Furman does need to find an improvement on his lap, so hopefully Cristiano De Matta pulls it into the pits before he starts this lap.
He does.
He does so. So we'll see what Ralph Furman is capable of doing. The Irishman currently down in 18th position, which is 4 places further down than his teammate, who I think is just slightly up the road there as he exits the first chicane. Trulli finds more improvement and actually goes ahead now with Jenson Button, so almost definitely safe now from the drop is the Frenchman of Benoit Trulli, as he sits 2.5 seconds off the pole position time. Furman not quite finding the time that he needs through this first sector. He needs to find 0.05 of a second to go ahead of Heidfeld at least, about 1.5 to go ahead of Webber, and 0.3 to go ahead of Coronel, which in turn would also probably put him ahead of Nicolas Manassian. So pretty close quarters in terms of between 16th to 18th as it currently stands, as Webber has been outclassed by his teammate Felipe Massa today. Massa up in 8th, Webber down in 16th. So this has been quite a shocking performance in terms of qualifying for the Australian. By the way, welcome in Galactic Stag. How you doing, mate? Hope that you've had a good day. Pedro de la Rosa, for your information as well, will be 1 place higher as well. He'll be currently up in 6th place on the grid, as Fisichella will not be competing in this Grand Prix. As across the line then for Ralph Furman, no improvement found, and he stays in 18th, 1 place ahead of this man, Jacques Villeneuve. Rubens Barrichello also looking for time through the final sector, so we'll keep an eye on his lap time and see if he could potentially shove Michael Schumacher off his perch on the second row of the grid. Of course, would be great for Raikkonen. Cannot do it though. He does improve by 0.5 of a second, but Schumacher stays in that 4th position as of right now. 28.5 for Jacques Villeneuve in the Williams BMW.
But see him still improve if he finds something in the middle sector or the 3rd sector, where probably BMW power is the one lacking at the moment.
That means that the Dark Lord has reached the top 10. He has indeed.
Money!
Antonio Pizzonia has qualified in the top 10 for the first time this season. I think that's the first top 10 in qualifying for Brabham as a whole ever.
Yes, yes, and we get more monies.
Mr. Krabs over here is pleased with his result. What about Jacques Villeneuve? Cannot make his way up ahead of Ralph Furman and stays in 19th position as we head into the final knockings of this qualifying session. Michael Schumacher out there on circuit right now. Hello, Sampas, welcome in. You've joined us just at the end of this qualifying session, and Michael Schumacher could be potentially looking to try and get Alonso's 3rd position, although is not improving through either of the first 2 sectors across the line, and Schumacher well down on his provisional best. Alonso looks to be held up behind a Red Bull. That looks to be Mark Webber in 16th place, so he is not going to be able to improve. No, he does not. He's a second down. Sperafico, though, that when I can find him, is up there in the top 10, but could be potentially held up by Takuma Sato here.
Could also just be getting a slipstream off the Honda, an unlikely ally essentially, considering that the Honda and Toyota rivalry in the Formula 1 is also there, but no improvement for Sperafico, stays 8th on the road. Teo is also not improving, so can't challenge possibly Cristiano De Matta. Montoya is also not improving through the 1st sector, also no improvement through the 2nd sector, so it's basically the order is done therefore.
Unless Montero can find a worldy amount of time, and he's actually 2 seconds slower. So the 2 Minardis failed to qualify alongside Takuma Sato and Giancarlo Fisichella, who is out following an extensive crash that he had at the start of the qualifying session. I believe if you rewind to 43 minutes into the session, then you'll be able to find that crash in the qualifying session if you did miss it. But Jarno Trulli, at his home circuit, at the team's host circuit, is on pole position, quite comfortably ahead of Kimi Raikkonen as well, as he starts on the front row. Crucially, though, ahead of his teammate Michael Schumacher, with with Fernando Alonso separating the two McLarens. Rubens Barrichello in the second Ferrari is 5th, with Pedro de la Rosa getting his best ever start in Formula 1 in 6th position ahead of Massa, Sperrifico, Glock and Antonio Pizzonia completing the top 10. Jean-Christophe Bouillon on his Renault debut starts off from 11th ahead of Montoya on the 6th row, then followed by Manassian in the lead dams, Coronel, Webber, Heidfeld and Furman in 17th. Villeneuve, Dixon and Friesacker will make the top 20 in a fantastic qualifying actually for the Boots and Energy racing car. We've not seen many times this season that on sheer pace that Friesacker has been able to qualify in such a high position. He is then followed by Justin Wilson, Ralf Schumacher in the only Honda that's made it onto the grid today, ahead of Trellier, Button, Zonta and De Matter. So, join us in a few moments then, where we'll be back for 53 laps of the Italian Grand Prix. Don't go anywhere. Okie dokie, we are back for the 2004 Italian Grand Prix. And biggest news out of the paddock, there's been a disqualification from qualifying and has actually put him out of the top 26. The man, I'll let you figure it out. First one to get it right in the chat. I'll confirm whether you have or not. But Sato is on the grid, and someone else has failed to qualify as a result. Montoya heads out there on circuit. We'll be starting this race in a couple minutes' time. It is the Zont. The Zont is gone. No more Zont.
So all the drivers that were scrutinized were Timo Glock, Ralph Furman, and Ricardo Zonta. And Zonta was the one that was
red or white Thierry. I think he's more of a rosé, but I think he's on the vodka at this point, honestly. Yeah, so as such, Zonta has failed to qualify due to taking a 5-place grid penalty. Oh, no. Because, no, that's not how it works. He qualified outside the top 20, so therefore is guaranteed to start outside, is guaranteed to be disqualified from qualifying and be thrown out entirely. If you qualify in the top 20, there is then a 50-50 chance that you either A, qualify in 26th or completely out, depending on how much of a breach of the regulations there has been. But if you're outside the top 20 in the qualifying position, then there is no chance when you are picked. So, Zonta is out, Sato is in. So what that means that he keeps his qualifying streak alive in his career. Ricardo Takuma Sato, yep, can't even think.
By technicality, that being, but he's still here.
Check the general chat of the Discord. Okay, I'll check that. By the way, guys, we'll be starting this race in a couple of minutes, so if you want to get yourself... if you want to get yourself a drink or a snack, be sure to do so, as we'll be getting this race underway in about 4 or 5 minutes' time. I've got myself my water, which was ice at the start of the afternoon. Late to the party, you were just working on an art piece for the Stewart F1 car from 97. What carried on? Okay, that sounds cool.
Okay.
That's cool, Martin. Basically, qualifying report. Trulli miles ahead of anyone else. Raikkonen ahead of Schumacher, most crucially. Della Rosa and Glock up the order with the Opel. Bouillon, Renault debut, 11th. Giancarlo Fisichella had a big brake failure in towards the first corner on his first run, smacked the wall, and is most definitely not taking part in this Grand Prix and probably will be out for a decent amount of time, which is a shame considering he only recently got back into his Toyota seat. So he has failed to qualify alongside both the Minardis in the form of Alex Young and Thiago Monteiro, alongside Ricardo Zonta, who did qualify up in 25th, I think it was, but with
24th actually.
Was it 24th?
He was ahead of Button.
Oh, was he ahead of Button? Okay, so yeah, Zonta failed scrutinization in after qualifying, so he is disqualified from qualifying and therefore fails to qualify. Sato was in the bottom 4 and then has moved back out of it due to Zonta's disqualification. That's pretty much all that happened in qualifying. Oh yeah, Heidfeld drove into Ralf Schumacher in the pits as well, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, fuck.
There's Della Rosa then, lining up in 6th position. Let's see then if we can see an Opel actually finish the race. I think if either one of them finish the race, then they'll probably be in the points, most definitely. But for Della Rosa, this is an opportunity like no other. Starting alongside a Ferrari on the grid, and yeah, with the straight line speed that we've seen from the Opals this season, this was going to be more race than any other that they were going to be scoring a good result.
I'm giving a crazy shout now that we would probably see De La Rosa at least in the top 3 after the start, considering their top speed and that the run to the first corner is quite long. Also, with them being still somewhat close to Honda, it could be quite crucial in the Constructors' Champions, considering the 10th position that currently Honda occupies brings prize money. Not much, but brings crucial 2 million, if I remember correctly. Therefore, Opel probably want to have a good result here and at least get, well, 3 points on the board.
This would be a race more likely than any other that Opel score a good result, is what I meant by that. I was a bit distracted with something else. I just lose my train of thought so easily while doing commentary.
As once again we wait for one of the runners to be the final one on the grid.
So without further ado then, there's only one more thing left to do, and that's kick off the 2004 Italian Grand Prix.
Hello there. Welcome to Italy. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Over 30 degrees and climbing. It's a fantastic day for Formula One. Trulli first. Kimi Raikkonen second. Alonso third. Schumacher fourth. Barrichello fifth. De La Rosa sixth. Massa seventh.
Riccardo Sperafico
Eighth. Motlo ninth. Antonio Pizzonia 10th. 11th. The Williams driver was decidedly average in qualifying and will have to work extra hard to make the most of his midfield position. He starts 12th.
Nicolas Benassiron
13th. 14th. Mark Webber 15th. Nick Heidfeld 16th. Ralph Furman 17th. Villeneuve was way off the pace of his teammate. He starts in 18th.
Scott Dixon
19th.
Patrick Prix,
20th. Justin Wilson 21st. Ralph Schumacher.
Hello James and everybody else, welcome in.
Benoit
That's
Trevier.
good. That is very good timing indeed. You've joined us at the start of this Italian Grand Prix, and with D'Amata and Sato starting on the back row of the grid, it is time to go racing for the fourth to last round of the 2004 season. 53 laps ahead of the drivers and 5 lights that have gone green, and there's racing to be seen. It's a good start for Jarno Trulli, not as good for Kimi Raikkonen as they head towards the first corner. Alonso's got the jump on him as they head into the Retafilo for the first time at 53. Into the first corner then, and Trulli takes advantage. There's De La Rosa, side by side with Michael Schumacher, and he's made a brilliant start. I think Williams has just gone off at the first corner. Justin Wilson's also been involved, but it's a fantastic start then for Jarno Trulli, who leads at the first chicane. In towards the second chicane then, and Michael Schumacher's looking towards the inside of his teammate after fending off Pedro De La Rosa. He's up the inside through the De La Rosa chicane. This is crucial for the championship, and he takes third position. So Michael Schumacher now into the podium places and puts further pressure on his teammate.
I think Justin Wilson and Scott Dixon have suffered damage into the first corner as there were 2 team radios coming in. But
Yes.
that's quite crucial at the front that Michael overtook his teammate.
Yeah, so welcome in Leo, Derbysaw, James of course, KMHD, Ralph and Joycey. Welcome in everybody that has also joined us here today. And that's straight into the back of Jacques Villeneuve there, and he has lost his front wing. Villeneuve fortunately hasn't sustained any damage despite making contact with the Rose Toyota and the barrier, and he will carry on, albeit down in 20th position. But for Jarno Trulli, he leads by about 6/10 of a second ahead of Fernando Alonso. We'll see if the Spaniard is capable of keeping up with him as he begins his last sector in this first lap of the session, of course. For De La Rosa, though, he's keeping tabs with the top 4 right now.
He overtook Barrichello off the start. Not quite the position that I anticipated him to be after the first corner, but he's right there and could pounce.
I think
And
Webber's
quite
had an
literally
incident.
is on the move.
Looking towards the inside, there is Pedro De La Rosa as Webber has dropped down a lot of positions off the start. I think he gained places on the actual run towards turn 1, but something has just happened to Mark Webber. I probably should have replayed that later, but oh well. We'll see what happened then with
fine.
the Australian. He was actually up ahead of Nicolas Manassi, so he was up to 13th place. So he'd made up a couple of places before making whatever mistake he had done for the Ascari chicane. He's just lost the rear of the car on the exits of the Ascari chicane, and we've seen so many times this season the Red Bull struggling for rear stability, and today seems to be no exception. Webber then down to 20th place, as meanwhile at the front of the field, there's De La Rosa, surely not on the championship leader. Side by side with Kimi Raikkonen, and there goes the Spaniard. Raikkonen forced onto the curb. He will keep that position for now as they head in towards the De La Rosa chicane for the second lap, but De La Rosa is all over the back of championship leader Kimi Raikkonen.
That's not helpful in his championship aspirations, as Michael at the front is looking to overtake Alonso in the meantime, so Raikkonen clearly struggling compared to his teammate at the current stage.
So Justin Wilson rejoins in last place after a 9.5 second stop, and he has got his work cut out for him. No retirements to mention of as of right now. At the front of the field, though, Jarno Trulli is really starting to eke out his gap at the front as Michael Schumacher begins to put pressure on Fernando Alonso for second place in this race.
De La Rosa the Opel looks more planted than the McLaren at the current stage, so maybe Raikkonen having made a mistake with his race setup during the qualifying session. De La Rosa could, quite frankly, take the position at any given point at this point.
And this is a great opportunity for him. He's in the wheel tracks of Kimi Raikkonen in front, and look at the straight line speed of the Opel. He's nearly alongside already before they've even reached the braking zone, and looking towards the inside is Pedro De La Rosa. Could he potentially take 4th place in this race? Raikkonen, though, once again on the curb. A better exit for Pedro De La Rosa. And will he be able to take this place now from Kimi Raikkonen? Not quite. Raikkonen just about holding on, and De La Rosa will not be all too pleased with the Finn's adventurous thoughts on track limits as he makes his way up the inside and towards the De La Rosa chicane. Contact between the two. De La Rosa really wanted to get on with this one. Of course, there is Rubens Barrichello also closing in on the two of them. And I've got to say, De La Rosa really breathing life into what could be a fantastic opportunity for the Opel team.
Definitely, as Glock has lost a position at the start now, closer to Bouillon actually in the current stage. Could possibly be on a heavier fuel load as Mark Webber lost more positions, even further down, now back to 25th position, so Webber looks to have more trouble in that Red Bull.
Here is Michael Schumacher then challenging Fernando Alonso for second place in this race in towards the Parabolica curve. Up the inside, Alonso's going to have to cede the space towards the inside for the 5-time world champion. And across the start-finish line, Alonso not giving him a single inch as they go across to start lap 4. Here we go then, side by side between Schumacher and Alonso. Can the German look towards the inside here? Michael Schumacher versus Fernando Alonso, and Alonso just about inching in front. Can he hold on to it, or will Michael Schumacher be able to find a way through? Not quite as they head through the Curva Grande. So Schumacher keeps in 3rd position for now, and looking towards the inside again in towards the De La Rosa chicane. Great battle in between the two as Raikkonen versus De La Rosa. Again, there is contact between the two. Can we get a replay of what happened to Mark Webber? I missed it, unfortunately, but I think
it
he
already happened.
Yeah, I think he spun off at the first Lesbo, so it's really going from bad to worse for Mark Webber in that regard, as the Red Bull driver has massively hindered any chance of him scoring points today. His teammate, though, Felipe Massa, keeping with Pitsonia, who's managed to somehow get himself into the points. I think he overtook the Red Bull driver in the previous couple of laps, so...
At the start of this one, actually.
Was it? Right, okay. So Pitsonia is now up into the points. Could potentially be challenging his other fellow countryman, Riccardo Sbarafico, as the battle between De La Rosa and Kimi Raikkonen is far from over. The Finn having to defend with all of his worth from this, what has usually been, in terms of its cornering ability, equivalent of a blue and yellow stick of butter, but down the straights it's an absolute menace in a straight line. Here comes Pedro de la Rosa once again, looking towards the inside of Kimi Raikkonen. A fantastic battle brewing between the two, as it's a replay of what we've seen in the previous laps, and once again Kimi Raikkonen keeping the position, but Barrichello is closing in on both of them.
Barrichello just looking, hoping that something happens just in front of him. In the meantime, Montoya has lost 2 positions to Nick Heidfeld and Nicola Minacion, looking like it's once again a heavy fuel load for Montoya to get him somewhere close to the points-paying positions.
We'll have a look then. Here is Nicolas Minassian making his way through, and it's an easy move actually into the Ascari chicane for the French driver, and he now will put his sights on trying to get past Nick Heidfeld for 12th place in this race, who is in turn trying to look past Jean-Christophe Bouillon, who looks very slow off this race start. Very clearly rusty in terms of his racing experience, of course, and Nick Heidfeld is going to take full advantage of that. Another place gain then for the German, and the Brabham team look just as strong as Opel in this race, as Heidfeld now just sits 4 seconds behind the second Opel car of Timo Glock. What about Nicolas Minassian as well? Could he potentially make a move on the Frenchman? Julian's going to he is going to defend it in towards the Ascari chicane, so he holds on to his 12th position as of right now.
Michael is through.
He is indeed through. He's managed to get through at the Parabolica, but can Alonso find any way through on the German towards the first corner? It seems that the McLaren just has the advantage on the Renault in towards the first corner. Looking towards the inside, though, is still Fernando Alonso. Schumacher's going to hold on to it and keep that second position for now. But for Schumacher, he's now got to bridge a 7.5 second gap to Jarno Trulli up in front. Now, let's have a look then at what happened between Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso.
Probably once again looking for a move down the inside at the Parabolica, where he tried it 2 laps earlier. This time probably has perfected it. Now dives down the inside and has more speed just rounding the corner and takes the position of the Renault driver. Crucial also in the championship fight between McLaren and Renault. Currently Alonso the only driver threatening both McLarens in the championship.
There's been a move further back on the field as Jenson Button has just been overtaken by the Honda of Ralf Schumacher. Further up the field there's Scott Dixon making a move on Jacques Villeneuve for 19th place in this race, and the BAR man will make his way now behind his teammate, so we could see a BAR battle brewing between the two in the next couple of corners, as he's actually got a fantastic run out of the first chicane. What can Dixon do then to try and get through on Coronel? He's going to look towards the inside is what he's going to do in towards the De La Rosa chicane, and there's contact actually between the two BARs. Coronel, though,
probably
can't seed position as of right now, although Scott Dixon is going to force the issue here. They're both going to lose time to the cars in front, but Dixon does not give one flying whatever about what Coronel has to say about it. Dixon is through, and he's very displeased over the radio, in fact.
Probably not what the BAR team principal wants to see at the current stage, but at the front, Barrichello has now closed the gap further to De La Rosa, so potentially Barrichello could mount an attack on the Spaniard.
Seems that Benoit Trellier, after that pre-qualifying scare, he's certainly looking to make use of this good car that he's got in a straight line. And first on his agenda is Patrick Friesacker as the two go side by side for 16th position in this race. The Boutsen just about pulling in front as they head down towards the first chicane. It's quite honourable how the Asiatech is managing to pull that Boutsen so far along, but can the Rose Toyota potentially outbrake him in towards the first chicane? He does ever so slightly, but Friesacker should have that better line through the second part. There's actually contact on the exit of the exit there, as further back we can see Jacques Villeneuve is now putting Tom Coronel under immense pressure for 19th place in this race.
Right, interesting to see the factory-aligned teams of BAR and Williams struggle around. Here's also Honda and, well, we know that Honda and Jaguar are not the greatest in the straight line, but that the Audi engine has no power over other teams as they're... Oh, there's a mess of it. Oh, God.
Oh, and that's several people that is collected in that incident there. Benoit Trellier off the
Dixon's
road.
out.
Oh, Dixon is out as well.
Dixon is out.
Dixon's
That's a
heavily
heavy
into the
one.
wall there. Sato's
What's
also out and
happened
in the
here?
gravel. And a big smash there between Dixon, Sato, Trellier. I think Button was also involved in that. Maybe even Ralf Schumacher.
Okay, so what happened here? I feel like it was starting with Friesacker and Trulli just ahead. Potentially looking for a move here, getting spun round.
Yep.
It is the fact.
And then, collects Scott Dixon there, who goes slamming into the barriers. And also rejoins into the path of... Who was it? Sato, was it? Yeah, straight into the path of Sato.
That's the penalty.
Yeah, that's going to be a penalty for Benoit Trellier, most definitely. And there's going to be questions over what on earth that was from the Rose Toyota driver. Scott Dixon out of the race then, as is Takuma Sato. 2 for the price of 1 that Trellier has just managed to crash out of the race. And
some would call it a double kill.
Rose Motorsport.
As Minassian has now gotten past Jean-Christophe Bourdillon for 12 on the road.
No, he shouldn't be injured from that. That wasn't such a big
he's not
crash. He did go airborne, but it wasn't that big of a crash for Scott Dixon.
De La Rosa, though, could potentially make a move here, but Raikkonen has that one scouted. Raikkonen has the upper hand through the middle sector where De La Rosa... Ooh, that's wayward there. Where De La Rosa is losing all the time that he could gain on the straights, as Benoit Trulli has now been wheeled into the pit garage of his team. Well, the stewards probably will have a nice talk with him after the race. So now Barrichello could put pressure on the Opel, as the Opel has lost a heap of time with that slight mistake.
So I'm just writing in the damages. There's quite a lot to write, believe it or not. There we go.
Barrichello now in the slipstream of the Opel could potentially challenge him into the first corner, but even with the slipstream, De La Rosa is pulling away from the Ferrari.
Yeah, the good straight line speed there of Pedro De La Rosa also nearly makes him impossible to overtake in a straight line. Barrichello is going to have to resort to more unorthodox opportunities to make his way through up into 5th place in this race, as Pedro De La Rosa, by all means, could be on course for a best result of the season, especially if there is mechanical issues for cars in front. Of course, his best result so far this season was at the Monaco Grand Prix, surprisingly completely opposite in terms of track dynamics compared to this, where he scored 4th place through the chaos. But in turn, that race was also won by Montoya. 2nd place was Sperrifico, and 3rd place was Jenson Button. So that shows how chaotic that race was in that regard. For Sperrifico, meanwhile, he's running fairly well right now, pulling away from Pitsonia in this first stint, and is slowly reeling in Pedro De La Rosa, and as such, Rubens Barrichello. Hello, Zabash, welcome in.
It was an interesting start to the race and an almighty crash already in the back marker field. as Ralf Schumacher has now gotten past Tom Coronel for 19th.
Jarno Trulli then
In
leads on lap 10 by 10 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher. Last lap, 0.8 of a second faster than Michael through that last lap alone. So for the first time in a long time, we're seeing someone other than Michael Schumacher dominate the timing sheets. Alonso kind of keeping tabs with Michael Schumacher at this current stage, but he is slowly being dropped by the German. Raikkonen down in 4th position right now, and he's under pressure from Pedro de la Rosa. Has been able to weather the storm of the first brunt of the attacks from the Spaniard, but I imagine that the Opel will come back at him at some later point in this race. Barrichello is in 6th, with Sparaffico 7th, and Pitsonia is doing very well in 8th position. Massa struggling to keep up. Maybe suffering from the same issues that we're seeing with his teammate Mark Webber, as the Australian has spun around on 2 separate occasions already in this Grand Prix.
In the meantime, Furman and Bullion are debating over 13th actually, with Montoya just sitting behind.
Yeah, I imagine that this race will be more of a warm-up for Jean-Christophe Bullion in his tenure at Renault. Of course, I think Renault now will probably be looking behind them rather than in front of them in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, McLaren into this round already were leading by 21 points. And I imagine it will be only more extended with Schumacher 2nd and Raikkonen in 4th. Alonso up in 3rd. Bullion down in 14th. And yeah, they'll probably be expecting him just to get used to the car and then be back to pretty much how he was at his best in the previous years in the next couple of rounds. But for right now, though, he will potentially be looking to try and re-overtake Ralf Furman in towards the first chicane. Not quite. Or maybe so.
Really? That was what I expected. That is probably Jarno Trulli pitting already. So Trulli's light on fuel. That explains his early pace over Michael Schumacher.
Most definitely. Jarno Trulli then almost confirmed to be on a 3-stop strategy.
Oh my god!
And the Ferrari fans are absolutely desperate with tears, with anguish, as Jarno Trulli retires from the lead at his home Grand Prix, at Ferrari's home Grand Prix, and any chance of Jarno Trulli getting back into this championship fight is almost completely gone. Jarno Trulli then retires from the lead with engine failure. That puts De La Rosa to 4th position in this race, and in the fight for the podium.
Fight. Yeah. Also, Glock closer to the points as Sparaffico is told to stop, so his early pace is down to a light fuel load as well.
We'll see what it's like for Pedro de la Rosa then. We'll see if he will suffer the same sort of strategy. No wonder if he's that fast, if he is on a 3-stop strategy, but if he's not, then this is a definite chance of a podium for Pedro de la Rosa, if the car can hold up, of course. But now, Michael Schumacher leads the race, and as it currently stands, would also take the championship lead by 2 points over his teammate, Kimi Raikkonen. How did the Ferrari's engine blow? It looked like a water leak by the steam. It was white smoke, so it might have been a water leak or something like that. As Toyota already in the pits, that's for Riccardo Sparaffico in the only Toyota in this race. Of course, if you missed it, Giancarlo Fisichella had a huge crash in qualifying and has sat out this Grand Prix, at least has been taken back to the medical centre. So we'll await his condition in the news report after the Grand Prix. Yes, Michael in a McLaren. This is a series that started in 1998, and we have gone through a lot of different changes compared to real life, such as Michael Schumacher in a McLaren.
Also putting more pressure on Raikkonen with lap traffic just ahead of the two of them.
My evening is going pretty well, Derbyson. Thanks for asking. I don't know about Nils as well. How's your evening doing, mate?
I'm looking at Pitsonia's current position and my wallet for the team, so... Oh, they're that good. Manassin is pitting at the end of this lap.
Sperrifico rejoining outside of the top 10 as he is down to, 13th in this race, ahead of Montoya crucially, but behind Bouillon and Furlan, who have been battling in the past couple of laps, and there was indeed contact between Barrichello and his countryman Cristiano De Mata. Still, the 5th place man gets through.
I mean, he scored points at the Monaco GP, but there's a reason why I'm looking at his current performance and my team budget. Anyway, De La Rosa probably also lighter on fuel considering his pace, but could really be down to his actual pace in the Opel itself. I think the lap traffic has not aided him.
I think Manassian's going to be into the box at the end of this lap. And if you're wondering what Nils is on about, there's a whole financial system. And he was naive enough, let's say, to accept for Antonio Pizzonia to be on a bonus clause of €375,000 per point that he scores. So as it currently stands, he's going to be out of pocket by €1 million.
To be honest, I did not expect him to be that good. Anyway, Glock now into the points because of this pit stop for Sperrifico in a battle with his compatriot Nick Heidfeld. Sperrifico now stuck behind the battle of Ralph Furman and Jean-Christophe Bouillon.
Oh, there is a battle for the 3rd position there. I think De La Rosa did look for a move in towards the Ascari chicane, but was unable to do so. So, Raikkonen once more under pressure from Pedro De La Rosa in the Opel.
Yeah, Raikkonen nearly bankrupted Lotus by doing that, yes. But he was on like a stupid clause as well.
And here comes Pedro De La Rosa once more looking for a move on Kimi Raikkonen on
Closer
lap 15.
Than before.
He is indeed closer. Looking towards the inside is the Spaniard. And Raikkonen just about holding on in front once more. So De La Rosa still unable to find a way through on Kimi Raikkonen.
But could have run into the De La Rosa chicane. Down the inside, we saw some contact there as well. But De La Rosa once again putting the pressure on the fin. Now down the inside into the first Lesmo, no good there as well.
De La Rosa so far this season has 6 points to his name, I believe. Yeah. Is it 6? Yeah. He got an 8th place in Belgium and a 4th place in Monaco.
Down the inside, potentially down the inside here. Yeah, actually goes for the move, but once again, Raikkonen has that one scouted.
So De La Rosa unable to find a way through, even despite his improvements in straight line speed over the McLaren. He's still not able to find a way through, maybe up the inside in towards the final corner. Raikkonen chops his nose there through the final corner. De La Rosa unable to find his way through.
But that good run from De La Rosa could open the gap into the first corner once again, but Raikkonen has that one scouted. But here comes the confirmation that De La Rosa is light on fuel.
Pizzonia into the box as well.
Into the pits.
Yes, from 6th position, so a fantastic first stint. Could possibly present a chance for him to be in a good position, actually, when he comes out of the pits. Of course, he was in a battle with Riccardo Sperrifico, who's now making his way down the main straight. An 8.5 second stop there for the Brabham as the Toyota goes through. So there is Sperrifico, who is battling with earlier, or close to actually making contact with Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Renault, who now moves up into the top 10, and the Toyota still unable to find a way through. There's Pizzonia a couple seconds back. And Pizzonia looks like he could potentially be on a 2-stop strategy with this sort of strategy. Opel already in the pits then, and that'll be for Pedro De La Rosa.
So his early pace down to a light fuel load as well, but he's definitely on course for points, considering that Glock currently is holding up Heidfeld behind.
Yeah, he's about
And the gap
25
is-
seconds ahead of his teammate by the looks of the split times, as De La Rosa makes his way into the box for the first time. 4th place he's just left the racetrack from. Have there been talks about a point system change? No, there is not, no.
The point system just changed for the 2003 season.
I think I changed it for 02, I think, actually, in this series.
You did. But anyway, it just changed like 3 seasons ago, so no reason for another change. De La Rosa, though, rejoins in 6th ahead of his teammate.
Who is still holding off Nick Heidfeld. The German's got to be frustrated as he's not able to find a way through at all as they make their way in towards turn 1. Yeah, still no way through there for the Mercedes-powered car. Even despite caught in the corner, he's still not able to make the way through.
Risaka pitting at the end of this one from 14th. Massa now stuck behind Cristiano D'Amata, his compatriot, who is on a lap down now, Justin Wilson as well.
You've
Okay,
caught
was
up
two,
with them all.
was
That's
two.
good, yeah.
Good.
So, for Michael Schumacher, he could potentially be on a one-stop strategy if he just makes it a couple more laps before making his first pit stop in the race. Alonso in 2nd, Raikkonen is in 3rd position. So as it currently stands, live championship standings, Schumacher would be on 75 points, Raikkonen 73. Alonso kind of not in the championship picture. He needs to be outscoring the McLarens by quite a margin if he wants any chance of winning this championship. But for Barrichello, he is kind of sticking with Kimi Raikkonen. Ever since Pedro de la Rosa stopped challenging the Finn, though, he's managed to start pulling away the McLaren man ahead of the Scuderia driver. And
Michael is out.
the second time this race. We're only on lap 18, and the second time this race we've had a driver retire from the race lead. Alonso leads.
And now De La Rosa is definitely in the shout for a podium with Michael out. And I already ahead of the race, or ahead of the qualifying session, I said if Michael once again gets the more delicate McLaren, he's not going to win the championship, and as it currently stands, it is once again the matter of the fact.
So Michael Schumacher's winning streak comes to an end at the Italian Grand Prix from the race lead. The second race leader that we've had now retire within the first 20 laps. So as it currently stands, we're going to have, 7 drivers lead this race and all retire from the race. So, Timo Glock, Lee's got your name on it, bud.
I also love how FF talks about my team being in a depth if I'm not even in a depth right now. Well. And you?
So, that's massively opened up the chance for a Fernando Alonso victory. I was just saying how Fernando Alonso needs to be outscoring the 2 McLarens if he wants to stay in this championship fight. But he needs to have, if he has Raikkonen retire, this is a perfect chance for Renault in both championships, because Alonso would take the gap from 21 down to 11 in the Constructors' Championship, and I think he would fall within 10 points, actually, of the Drivers' Championship lead as well. I'm not entirely sure on that
He's 5 points down then if Raikkonen also retires. Raikkonen currently on 67, Alonso on 52. With the current results, Alonso would climb to 62, Raikkonen on to 75. Alonso is definitely still in it, but needs some reliability woes for Raikkonen as well.
To be fair though, FF, you do say the same prediction every single race. As Nick Heidfeld has just gotten past Timo Glock through the 2 Lesmo corners. So Timo Glock has actually lost a position here at Monza. Don't know how he's managed to do that, but he's trying to fight his way back up into what is now 6th position in this race. Heidfeld, though, holding him off through the Ascari chicane. He did say it. I did see it at the start of the race, but he does say it every race. So
Yeah.
And Glock looking back up the inside then of Nick Heidfeld. The two German teams make contact with one another. The German drivers, Heidfeld just about staying in front of Timo Glock as Brabham at the last Italian Grand Prix before they become Austrian Grand Prix for next season. Timo Glock, though, still looking to try and usurp the other German just in front of him. Unable to do so, though. So Timo Glock stays in 7th place as of right now. Nick Heidfeld unable to shake off Timo Glock. Even with the decent straight line speed that the Brabham has got, the Opel is just miles better in a straight line. As Glock goes back up the inside, nearly just absolutely murdering Nick Heidfeld there at the Della Rosia chicane, but he does stay behind for now, and they're actually coming up to lap Cristiano Di Matta in this race. Pedro de la Rosa also just a couple of seconds up the road after making his first pit stop. As Red Bull already in the stop.
Massa.
Yes, that is going to be for Felipe Massa.
As now Di Matta is holding up both Germans behind.
That is Faith, I think. I don't know.
Faith.
It's Faith and then something else after, but look out for Faith in the chat. If Faith doesn't show up in the chat, I actually did call this last stream that they're not going to show up for the Italian Grand Prix. Oh.
Massa now into the pits, will elevate De La Rosa back into 4th position and Heidfeld and Glock up to 5th and 6th. With Sparrow probably re-emerging into the points as well. But here comes Glock on Heidfeld. Down the inside, but not far enough ahead. Under braking.
So Massa into the box then, rejoins down in 12th position ahead of the Williams of Jacques Villeneuve. He's down the order after being spun around by Justin Wilson on the first lap. So both Rose Toyota cars have been in the wars today. The racing, that was deemed as a racing incident though between Justin Wilson and Jacques Villeneuve. However, the stewards will be having a chat with Benoit Trellier after this Grand Prix.
And Bouillon now on the cusp of potential points here, seeing as Berman and Sparrow are debating over 7th.
Yeah, Sparrow
just behind as well.
Yep, sorry for interrupting there, but Sparrow has really struggled to actually make his way through the traffic after making his first pit stop in this race.
Oh, slight contact.
It was only a couple of seconds actually behind this pair before his, after coming out of the stop, and after about, what's it been, about 8 or so laps, he's not been able to overtake even Ralph Furman yet in this race. As we look at the tyre life, he's looked towards the inside there. It is indeed 8 laps that he has been out there in his second stint. Ralph Furman, though, just cutting across the front of the Toyota.
As Heidfeld now into the pits, releases Glock into 5th. Currently both Opels running 4th and 5th. As it currently stands, they would retake 10th in the standings.
Savesh, I feel like I don't believe you. I'll be completely honest with you.
Would be too convenient.
It would be way too convenient.
Also, with you saying that you're here for the first time, it doesn't match up.
Yeah. Did Quasimodo
Anyway,
by any chance predict a Opel engine failure at some point in this race, Benny? Or did he? Or was he not able to do that? Ralph Furman then still under pressure from Riccardo Sparrow at this stage of the race. Furman has not yet stopped in this Grand Prix. Sparrow, though, has made his first stop on lap 13. So he has been stopped behind this group for about 10 laps now in this race. And the Brazilian, even with his straight line speed advantage that we have seen so much this season, is just unable to overtake Ralph Furman.
I mean, the problem also lays with the Opels not being able, as Sparrow nearly runs into the back of Furman, that the Opels can't get over, an overtake done because they are not able to outbrake the cars in front.
Sparrow then looking towards the inside of Ralph Furman once again, but Furman still holds on. Renault are ready in the pits. That'll be for race leader Fernando Alonso into the pits on the end of lap 23, which could indicate a long final stint on a one-stop strategy.
Also could indicate that Raikkonen maybe finally gets his first victory of the season if he goes longer in this stint.
He has got a bit of lap traffic to deal with, though. I think Justin Wilson is just in front of him as Jensen Button also makes his way into the stop. Raikkonen then takes the lead of the race. Welcome in Lazera and Redox. Welcome in to everybody as well. We've now got 40 people watching the stream. And
Barrichello's out!
Yep, the Ferrari misery has been doubled as Rubens Barrichello has retired with a gearbox problem.
De La Rosa onto the podium, therefore.
Oh no, if you're a Ferrari fan, look away. As Rubens Barrichello, the only chance of a Ferrari podium today, has just gone up. Not in smoke, but with a jammed up gearbox. Barrichello then will become the 6th retirement of this Grand Prix as he's stuck in 7th gear.
You're running 9th.
But the story currently is De La Rosa, with him being on a free stop, Glock is actually more in the position of getting that maiden Opel podium because he is yet to stop and is catching De La Rosa.
We'll have to wait and see, though, because we have seen many times this season, as we saw, as we said in the news, that Timo Glock, more often than not, just starts to fall away in the middle and the back end stages of races. So we'll see if that is a continuation today. It needs to not be if Opel want a chance at a very good haul of points here today, as De La Rosa currently, once Barrichello's into the pits, will be 3rd and Glock 4th. That could be a possible 11 points on offer for the Opel team. They're only on 6 for the season so far.
And with them getting 11 points, they jump ahead of Jaguar and Red Bull up into 8th position, therefore.
And Honda as well. They also jump ahead of, as Ralf Schumacher is probably unable to repeat his podium heroics. There's your confirmation then. Rubens Barrichello out of the race. Gearbox problems for him. And that puts Pedro de la Rosa into 3rd place for the first time in this Grand Prix.
Is running 8th. Is right in front of you. You're running 9th.
Sperrifico still unable to get past Ralph Furman, as this has now become a battle for 5th place in this race.
Montoya now into the points as well as Bullion, so as it currently stands, Renault could potentially get a 2-car points haul if Bullion goes further into the race and other drivers around him pit in a matter of laps.
And of course, a lot of the front runners now out of this race. Bullion now in the points, as you said, massively helps Renault in their Constructors' Championship, as if Bullion gets points, then that'll help, especially if Alonso gets the victory here today. Ralf Schumacher will be into the box shortly, although he has been fairly mediocre. Very little to do with his own lack of skills, though, as Dams will be into the pits at the end of this lap. That'll be for Ralf Furman.
Still costs Sperrifico a lot of time, and therefore any potential chance for the Toyota to get close to the Opels and potentially challenge for another podium this season.
We have to remember, though, that Sperrifico did pit on lap 13.
Oh, this is not helpful for him if he's trying to overtake Furman heading into the pits. Nearly a monumental collision between the two of them.
So, Ralf Furman into the box then from 5th position. As you said, Sperrifico will now go and try and challenge the 2 Opels, as he currently sits about 7 seconds shy of Timo Glock on circuit. 9.5 second stop then for the Irishman, and he's going to rejoin in the lower fringes of the top 15. 13th place then it'll be for Furman, as he has his teammate just in front of him by a couple of seconds, who is in turn looking to try and get through on Nick Heidfeld, who has also stopped in this race.
Bullion now on a huge threat there from behind by Montoya and Pitsonia.
Yeah, Ferrari were
Of course.
never in the title fight. Including this race, there was only 4 rounds to go, and they were the best part of 40 points behind. How are the standings? I know for an absolute fact that, as it currently stands, Raikkonen will be leading the championship by 12 ahead of Schumacher.
Give me a second. So, yes, it would be 12 points ahead of Michael, with Alonso on 60 points ahead of his teammate Giorgio Pantano. That will not take place in the championship any further.
Yeah, so it'll
But
be...
I have to say, Raikkonen at the moment is opening the gap for a pit stop.
He is indeed. So Raikkonen would be on 77, Schumacher 65, Alonso 60. And those are the people that we only really have to talk about in the terms of the championship fight. Of course, both Ferrari drivers out, as well as Pantano injured for the remainder of the season, means that it's really down to a 3-horse race. Although with Raikkonen leading and could potentially win this race, it could allow the Finn to just get over the line in terms of winning his first ever World Championship. But first for him, on lap 27, he is into the box for his first pit stop of the race. Is Montero still getting a seat next year? If Minardi's on the grid, maybe. If Minardi's not on the grid, almost certainly not. Because Montero is just... Guy. He is just Guy. He is just...
I think Glock is pitting at the end of this lap, as well as Alonso retakes the lead, but only around 4 seconds under braking ahead of Raikkonen, extra 3.5. So it'll be interesting to see if Raikkonen can reel in the Renault, as there goes Glock into the pits.
This could be a
Really
crucial stop
interesting to
for him
see.
and his season. Of course, has signed a contract extension prior to this race weekend, but will desperately want to get his first points of his Formula 1 career.
It'll be interesting to see where he re-emerges. He was in a battle with Heidfeld, but Heidfeld just there comes over the start-finish straight. And Glock therefore probably stays ahead. No, that's actually the matter. There is Heidfeld.
So Glock has got the jump on Nick Heidfeld through the stops once more and retakes his position ahead of his fellow countrymen. So Glock in 9th, Heidfeld in 10th, and both of them are primed for points if they can both achieve it. As here goes Mark Webber looking towards the inside of Tom Coronel, very close to making a collision between the two, but the Australian gets the move done. His teammate, though, Felipe Massa, has already made a stop in this race and sits quite a way ahead. So this has been a disappointing race, to say the least, for Mark Webber.
Sperfico once again heading into the pits, as Montoya there is under threat by Pitsonia. Probably more courtesy of Bouillon not finding the pace that he requires, but Frenchman currently sitting in 5th could help massively in the championship. Dams ready in the pits, that will be from Nicolas Minacion from 11th, as Sperfico now heads into the pits from 4th.
I should make a... Honestly, I should just make a... what's it called? A wiki fandom page of this series at this point.
Yes.
Because the amount of lore that is just bursting from the seams in this series, I need to document it somewhere other than a random Discord channel, which, by the way, if you're not in the description down below, in the stream description, you can join the Discord. There's a link in there, as Sperfico has rejoined in 10th place, so he's actually rejoined behind both Glock and Sperfico, which will be quite frustrating for him.
Heidfeld looks for a move.
Yeah, Heidfeld looking a lot more lively as Glock tries to get his tyres up to temperature. I don't think it would make sense in terms of the series itself, Redox. As, yeah, like you said, Heidfeld up into 8th, which is the points, most crucially. And we're currently witnessing, we were expecting 2 Opals to be in the points today, and currently 2 Brabhams sit in the points. So, completely turned on its head to what we expected, but that's how we love it. Sperfico behind Heidfeld and Glock, not Sperfico.
We were not We are not expecting a Pedro Della Rosa podium though, and well, currently we are getting one.
Bouillon's up in 4th place as of right now in the Renault, so it's been a fantastic debut for him at the team. Not his debut overall, just the debut at Renault, you know what I mean. But Bouillon currently holding off Montoya, Pitsonia and Massa for 4th place in this race. Still needs to stop though, as does Montoya, so those two are fighting for position in this race. We imagine though that Pitsonia and Massa will probably get the jump on them once those two make their pit stops.
I hope it doesn't get another points bonus. It's only Pitsonia.
Yep. I mean, Heidfeld did have a qualifying bonus, but he's already hit it, so...
Correct. As Webber's now scheduled to pit for the 2nd time in this race from 12. Good recovery drive by the Australian. But as we currently see a Bouillon train, could allow Heidfeld and Glock to actually come closer as well, with Bouillon not yet able to stop or scheduled to stop, as Montoya once again keeps the door shut from Pitsonia behind.
Yeah, it's Tom Coronel, not Tim Coronel Lazera, but he drives for BAR as David Coulthard is currently injured after a crash with Jarno Trulli earlier on in the season, as Pitsonia still trying to look for a move on Juan Pablo Montoya. Welcome in, Yoru, by the way. We are over halfway through this amazing Italian Grand Prix, where we have had Trulli, Schumacher and Barrichello all retire from the top 3 positions in this race. That means that we are currently watching an absolutely monumental scrap for what is now 4th place in this race.
Which could potentially come out to be 3rd in this race, with Della Rosa probably on a 3 stop, or at least a 2 stop, compared to Montoya and Bouillon on a 1 stop.
Yeah, the longer that Montoya and Bouillon keep Pitsonia and Massa behind, the better for their race strategies.
Pitsonia though pitting at the end of this lap, so he leaves those two fighting with Massa.
And could be a good strategy for Antonio Pitsonia if he is able to make the overcut work. But of course, he's going to be on that heavy fuel load once making his 2nd pit stop of this race. And there is confirmation that Pitsonia is into the box at the end of this lap. So he's getting out of this wild and wacky queue for 4th place in this race, and will try to make the undercut work. He probably should rejoin around Furman territory, I imagine.
Probably around Sperafico Furman, yeah.
Who would have thought that Pitsonia would be the one that's being held up? It's true. We've basically never seen Pitsonia get held up. He's in fact the one that usually leads the 16-car trains around the Hungara ring. As Pitsonia into the box then. His teammate Heidfeld goes through. Glock goes through. Sperafico goes through. Furman's now making his way around the final corner. 8.5 second stop for Pitsonia. That's the Jaguar of D'Amata, or Button, one of the Jaguars at least. And has rejoined ahead of Ralph Furman. So he's in the top 10. Yeah, so Opel are basically they're straight line speed and nothing else, essentially. That's why they are so good all of a sudden.
As I think Massa made a mistake behind Montoya. He's now 4 seconds behind.
We'll get a replay of that one then.
Lost a lot of time to Heidfeld as well, yeah, so definitely the Brazilian made a mistake. I think through the first last move, nearly losing the car as well.
So it's not through the first chicane.
Was put through Lasmo 1, I think.
What was it? He got up the inside there of Montoya. Yeah. Oh, just clips the back of him, trying to keep his nose in there. Montoya kind of in his blind spot there, and Massa falls down a couple seconds. Fortunately, though, for him, no damage accrued to his car, and he will continue in 6th position in this race. It's a fantastic race for Massa, but in the context of the Constructors' Championship, it's a terrible day for Red Bull if it stays as it is, with Della Rosa 3rd and Glock in 8th. And that would mean that Red Bull will go to 13 points, and coincidentally, I think Opel would also be on 13 points, but ahead on countback of more podiums, that being this one currently being held by Pedro de la Rosa in 3rd position, who is currently closing in on the 2 leaders.
So, quite evident that he is going to stop pretty soon again in this race.
Sampas, I think Michael Schumacher retired on lap 18, I think, something like that, with a suspension failure.
Around that, yeah. As Montoya and Bouillon is currently one of the closest battle, as Manasseh now has gotten past Ralf Schumacher for 13th. Dam's obviously struggling around the high-speed dependable Monza circuit.
I'd have to go around looking for replays. I don't think I'd have every single replay is the only problem with doing career mode review so far, so I would have to look into that at some point, but I could certainly, if it gets enough traction on me doing it, then I could definitely look into it. But I'd have to scour a lot of replays because there's been what 100 races or so, all crammed with good races, incidents, and so on and so forth.
I don't think I have for my anymore the whole replays and so on.
Yeah, but your game broke halfway through your own career mode season, so that makes sense. Montoya unable to do anything to Jean-Christophe Bouillon in terms of his straight line speed, as here is
Massa told to
Sferifico.
stop.
Yes, so Massa will be in for his 2nd stop. I think that'll be in the race.
Correct, as De La Rosa is also scheduled to stop soon.
I could get like highlights of certain races, yeah. Like
Yeah,
certain
that's
incidents.
That's what I'm probably going to do for 2007 as well.
Would I restart the series from the 90s? If I were to restart the series entirely, I'd start it in the early 80s, probably. Early to mid 80s. Because
You're stealing my ideas.
We'll do your 91 driver career mode then.
No.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to start one in the 90s, I don't think. I'd want to start in a completely different era. So 80s, I think, would be, or if the
80s.
if the mod was good enough, maybe even late 70s. As De La Rosa into the box, then crucial stop for him as he makes his 2nd stop in this race.
That is correct.
And this could be his last stop of the Grand Prix, of course. Doesn't really matter whether he rejoins ahead or behind of Bouillon and Montoya, as Massa also into the stop on lap 34. Yeah, somewhere around 1981. Yeah, that's correct.
I had 98. Jesus Christ, 9080. Jesus, there we go. I had 9080 in mind for my thing because I saw an image of Senna and Belloff testing the McLaren in 1983. That's why I'm thinking about it.
So Massa rejoins crucially behind Antonio Pizzonia on the circuit. I'm not sure if Pizzonia is going to the end or not in this race. Let me check the
Could be.
tyre life.
He stopped pretty early
3
on.
laps ago for his
Could be a
2nd stop. 20 lap stint at the end. Could be feasible for a 2 stop, although could also be a 3 stop. So we'll see how that battle plays out between the 2 Brazilians, as sticking with another Brazilian, Sferifico still unable to get past Timo Glock at this current stage of the race. We haven't been paying attention to it though. Raikkonen has been closing into Fernando Alonso in the recent laps, and as such, the gap between the 2 is now just 3 seconds. Could there still be light for a Kimi Raikkonen victory in 2004? And could it be here today at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza? We've got 17 laps to find out, and he is closing the gap at a rate of nothing. Great, brilliant. They are the exact same lap times. Top speed comparison then. Renault pretty strong, with Bouillon 351.6, very strong from him indeed. But of course, when you look at the Opels and the Brabhams, you then realise why they are so fast in this Grand Prix, as well as the Red Bull of Felipe Massa, Benoit Trellier. That's something else. He's already out of the race, so that doesn't count as a retirement.
People once again looking for a move, but not close enough for this time around. But better exit, never mind. The Opel also better out of the acceleration zone. But Heidfeld now into the pits will elevate Glock and Sparfico once again higher up in the order. I will not say the net numbers.
Free Saka into the box then towards the end of this lap. As I've got to say, this has been a very poor race from one Jacques Villeneuve. Even though he was taken out earlier on in the race, he's not been able to have any form of imprint in that Williams. That second Williams seat seems to be completely cursed for whoever's in it, whether it's Genet or it's Villeneuve or Alexander Wurz in the case of a crash. Yeah, for those guys, it has been certainly... Oh no, it's Pitsonia out with a suspension failure. The chance of a double points finish for Brabham in this race goes up in, not smoke, but is collapsed in the middle of the track. And Pitsonia becomes yet another retirement in this race.
Heidfeld now re-emerging from his pit stop. Close with Massa, actually.
It is indeed sponsored by The Sims 2 because they've done a collaboration with EA. Where is that car? Am I blind? Did I just go straight past it? Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. There it is.
There it is. Sims 2!
Yes, Benny, you heard me say yes. It's easier to pay for a broken suspension than for points from Pitsonia.
Coronel still trying to keep tabs with Nicolas Manassin at this current stage, as the Dutchman has just been overtaken by the French driver at the start of this lap. Yes, Faith! Faith is here! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! You've joined us 15 laps from the end, but you're here! Let's go! Welcome in, Faith. Oh dear me. Manassian then still holding on against Tom Coronel as further battle is brewing still between Jean-Christophe Bouillon and Montoya. Still haven't stopped in this race, and now it's a battle for the podium.
Will be interesting to see who pulls the trigger here earlier, considering that they're currently looking for a good points haul, especially with Bouillon having or needing that good points haul to help his team out in the constructors with Michael Schumacher out and Raikkonen currently behind their lead driver Alonso, who has opened up the gap again to 4.3 seconds.
So Montoya still unable to get past the Renault of Bouillon. He's been frustrated beyond belief behind the Frenchman here today. He's certainly got better pace than him, but he's just unable to due to the straight line speed of the Renault. Looking towards the inside, and it's still not enough to make his way through. Actually, he's just cut the corner there and might actually be able to draw alongside Bouillon. Not quite. He gets a better exit, the Frenchman, out of the second corner.
Sparfico is pitting again. He's on a questionable free stop, having considered that he only stopped like 10 laps ago?
I think he stopped... Oh, no, the tyre life. Yes, 10 laps ago.
That's rather interesting. And elevates Massa and Heidfeld further into the points paying positions, and Furman close to it as well. So somehow, Adams could score a points finish here. And that's Bouillon?
Yes, that will be for Jean-Christophe Bouillon at the end of this lap to make his pit stop on lap 39 of 53 of this race. He's gone extensively far in this race, probably to try and hold up people for Fernando Alonso so he doesn't have to deal with so many people, but with the amount of people that have retired in this race, it didn't really matter in all fairness. But Bouillon into the pits then from 3rd position in this race.
35 seconds ahead.
And crucially, he could re-emerge in 5th position with Glock being far behind him. So it would be a decent haul of points for him.
Eight and a
Will
half
be
second
interesting to
stop,
see.
and it could be close actually between him and Timo Glock on the pit exit.
There he
Glock's through.
goes.
Glock's through up into 5th position. So, who will rejoin in 4th position then? Will it be Montoya or will it be Timo Glock? We'll have to wait and see, but as it currently stands, we could be potentially seeing an Opel 3-4 here today.
Meantime, the battle for the final points paying position is hotting up with Heifel holding up 4 drivers at the moment.
Heidfeld, Furman, Manassian and Coronel all strictly in a line as Montoya is going to be into the pits the following lap to Jean-Christophe Bouillon. Justin Wilson's also going to be into the pits as Frank calls that Glock work. Dear me, that's...
Jeez.
Coronel down in
Anyway.
11th place. Yet to stop in this race as well, so I imagine he'll be into the box fairly shortly. As Montoya!
Oh, Montoya's out of fuel!
Montoya's out of fuel! How have the team not recognised this? Montoya out the race, and that's almost certainly going to be a guaranteed podium for Pedro de la Rosa.
That's podium. If nothing happens for Opel now, that's 1 podium at least.
And we've seen so many times Williams going for this long stint with Juan Pablo Montoya in races, and this time it's backfired completely. Montoya out of the race, and there's
And
nothing
crucially,
he can do.
crucially, that elevates Bouillon also in 5th position, so Renault closed the gap at the front quite considerably now to McLaren.
12 laps to go, and it's currently Alonso leading, Raikkonen second, fair enough, De La Rosa third, Timo Glock fourth, Bouillon fifth, Massa 6th, Heidfeld 7th. Where has this come from? I have got absolutely no clue in this race anymore, but this has been a race of attrition for a lot of drivers at the front of the field, and the people in the midfield are picking up the pieces in their droves.
Will be interesting to see. Ralf Schumacher, in the meantime, has slowly climbed up to 10th position due to all the retirements. Potentially, Honda could score a point if more troubles ahead hit the track. But currently, the closest battle is for the final points paying positions between Coronel, Furman, Heidfeld. Now Heidfeld and Furman into 7th and 8th. Coronel looking for his first F1 points, potentially.
VAR are ready in the
And
Never mind, there's Coronel's call into the pits.
Yeah, Coronel into the box then at the end of this lap as Ralf Furman has got it all to do if he wants to take 7th place off Nick Heidfeld. One of the stronger cars in terms of a straight line speed is the Brabham Mercedes.
stuck in 7th gear.
And
Well,
Ralf
never mind
Furman
then.
is out of the race, so that's perfect. If you're a fan of Brabham, I know certainly Nils would be, and Furman is into the pits to retire.
That elevates Ralf Schumacher potentially into the final points paying position, as I said. Currently running 8th. And quietly, we were talking about him having no pace. Villeneuve up into 11th.
10th
Actually,
even.
10th.
Yeah, 10th even as Coronel rejoins out the pits. Down in possibly 11th, maybe even 12th place, as there is Manassian. making his way down towards turn 1, looking towards the inside of the Flying Dutchman. Unable to do so, though. So Coronel 11th, Manassian 12th. Welcome in Race Ahead, by the way.
But the battle between Glock and Bullion is not done yet. Bullion is closing the gap.
He has been doing. Ever since his pit stop, he has been very quickly closing into the back of Timo Glock. And I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a battle between Opel and Renault for the 4th position in this race.
And I'm pretty certain nobody expected Bullion to be that quick, considering his absence since 2003. And his lackluster qualifying session, some might say, for the Renault, but definitely has the race pace to back it up.
Most definitely. Was on pace with Juan Pablo Montoya for the majority of this race in the Williams, albeit he was ahead, so we never really saw the potential that Montoya had in this race before his retirement, which was a bit of a shame, and also any minuscule chance that he had of winning this title for Williams has most definitely gone out the window now as Alonso begins his 44th lap of this race. That means we've got 10 to go here in Monza.
It will be interesting to see if the Frenchman can threaten Glock. Certainly through the twisty bits, the Renault has the upper hand, and now he's under a second behind Glock. Glock seemingly has lost his edge once again, but he still would score points, so he could theoretically take it easy a bit and get the save points rather than fight with somebody who has nothing to lose, essentially.
Yeah, this would be brilliant no matter where Glock finishes, whether it's 4th or 5th in this race. It would elevate them up ahead of Honda, Red Bull and Jaguar all in one fell swoop and put them up to what I think is 9th place in the... No, eighth. Yeah, it would be 8th place in the Constructors from 11th in the standings. So Opel will be wanting more than ever to get a good result, but with as little risk as possible. There we go. Struggling to get my words out, as that's some crazy chat law right there. What is next on the calendar? The next race, which will hopefully, or should be, next Sunday, 6 p.m. BST, same time, same place, is the 2004 Chinese Grand Prix for the first race at the Shanghai International Circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. However, is not the first Chinese Grand Prix as a whole, as last season we had the Zhuhai International Circuit host the Chinese Grand Prix of 2003. And then we've got the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka and the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. And that will wrap up our 18 race calendar this season, currently on round 15 of the 18 race calendar.
And clearly see now Bullion putting the pressure on Timo Glock. Remember, Bullion is a podium sitter, so he knows to put pressure on drivers ahead. Definitely has not lost his race knowledge.
And it would be, of course, his first point since the 2002 Japanese Grand Prix, where he scored 8th place in his final race for Prost, and his also final race in his full-time racing career in Formula 1. Has since taken up a testing role with BAR in 2003 and now with Renault in 2004. And
Thank you, Sampas.
We'll look for other opportunities potentially with a good result here today. Thank you, Sampas, for that one. Current championship standings with the current race positions as they are. Kimi Raikkonen on 75 points, 10 ahead of Michael Schumacher. Alonso 3 behind him, Pantano on 59, Montoya 49 and Trulli 46. Who bought out Prost? Prost just went under in the middle of 2003. So they just went bust. No one bought them out. They just went under. Yeah, it's
top 8.
It's top 8. So 10 points for the win, 8 for second place, 6 for third, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down to 8th position, in which Ralf Schumacher currently is situated in.
14 positions.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's gained the most places by a long way in this race. 14 positions from 22nd on the grid. Ralf Schumacher does have to have some plaudits in this race for his very good drive through the chaos and into the points. It is. And he would be on course as well for his second consecutive points finish and his third points finish overall for the Honda team, although this result currently will not stop Opel from moving ahead of them. Now that I think about it, though, it still would be crucial in their championship battle with Jaguar. With Massa scoring 6th place, it would put them just 1 point behind Jaguar in the battle for 10th in the Constructors. Yeah, Honda and Jaguar.
Oh, yeah, right. Forgot. Also just 3 points ahead of Brabham if Heidfeld comes home in 7th, so there's a potential battle there as well.
Alonso then on course for his second, I believe, victory of the season after winning in Malaysia. Yep. I was about to say, because I think he's won like 3 races total and 2 of them have been in Malaysia.
The Renaults won the first opening 2 rounds. After that, they were just on the podiums, scraping through.
Yes, and now Alonso is on course to score Renault's 4th victory of the season after Pantano has scored 2 wins.
What happened to Stuart GP? We see Jaguar on the grid, so similar to real life, they have been taken over by Jaguar. Or, well, Ford, that being.
So real life, Jaguar bought out Stewart in 2000. Same thing happened here. And for 2005, Jaguar have been bought out, or at least a 60% stake has been bought out by Tom Walkinshaw, who actually has money in this career mode, unlike real life, and will become TWR Jaguar for 2005 with the driver lineup of Ralf Schumacher and Björn Verdheim. What console is it? Yeah, this is a PC game. Alternatively, you can play it on the PS2, although it's a completely different game.
Bouillon has dropped back a bit to Glock. As soon as I say that, has gained back the 10th that he lost, but Glock currently has found his mojo again, keeping the Frenchman behind.
I don't think Bouillon's going to be able to make his way through. You can see how much time that Glock has just been able to pull out ahead of Jean-Christophe Bouillon, but you can see the cornering speed that the Renault is able to take versus the Opel, so I think it's going to come down to Glock making a mistake rather than Bouillon being able to attempt any sort of move in this final couple of laps in this race. Hello, Thomas. We are currently watching history with Opel, currently in 3rd and 4th in this race. Hang on, I want to get a comparison. Just look at the straight line speed, just dropped him completely. He was right behind him at the start of the straight. And then
there he goes.
There he goes. Much faster through the corners.
Alongside.
Very nearly got alongside there, Bouillon, but he's not able to make the place up. 5 laps to go then as Alonso begins lap 49 of 53. He leads by 4.5 seconds. He's weathered the storm that was Kimi Raikkonen. He was closing in on him a couple of laps ago, but has since managed to bridge that gap out a little bit more. So it looks like it's going to be Alonso from Raikkonen and Pedro de la Rosa. He's a minute off, but he will not care. It's 6 points to his name and a first ever podium in Formula 1 if he can hold on to it. Manassian. Yeah, I was about to say, Manassian has just been challenged by Webber through turn 1. However, has been able to hold off the Australian. This has not been a good race for the Red Bull driver, but he can make it better by overtaking the dams in towards the De La Rosa chicane. There's a bit of contact between the two, and he's unable to find his way through. Can you get red flags on this? You cannot know. There is also no safety car. You can also... The AI cannot get penalties either without mods put on top of it. It's a very stripped down game, but it's very moddable, which makes it very enjoyable for a lot of people who prefer older racing games.
And custom universes and career modes, so...
Such as this one.
Yeah, if you stop the race yourself, you can simulate a red flag. Then you just have to edit the lap count and so on, and the
Yeah, it's
starting order.
It's just a lot of modding, really. But in the base game itself, it's very primitive with what there is to do on this game.
Even though the safety car was, I think, planned for the game, also was put into the code, so there was plans for it at least.
Yep.
Meantime, Alonso is now lapped. Heidfeld now right behind Alonso, as Heidfeld is now sitting ahead of Raikkonen.
Seems that this battle is going to continue to rage on for the rest of this race, as Massa, like you say, has just been lapped. Could lead to potentially seeing Glock and Bouillon also being lapped in this race, as Alonso is about 5 seconds or so behind.
I mean, the pace between Bouillon and Glock is more evident than Massa's pace currently.
I don't think he'll catch him in time.
Yeah.
There's only 3 laps to go for Fernando Alonso, as he now crosses the line to begin lap 51 of lap 53.
Something would need to happen for him to get close to the pair of them. Also, if he could get close them, he could help his teammate with that. Maybe hold up Glock or box him in.
Yeah, that would definitely be crucial in terms of Renault's championship picture, but as it currently stands, Opel have got the upper hand over the second Renault driver, Jean-Christophe Bouillon. Seems that it's all died down in terms of the on-track battles, unless your name is Mark Webber, who's still trying to find a way through on Nicolas Manassi, and looking towards the inside then is the Australian of the Frenchman. He might actually get this move done out of the exit of the corner, and finally pushes him ahead of the Dams Lola Panos of Nicolas Manassian. The race winner of 2001 will now have to settle for 12th place unless he can find his way back through the Red Bull of Mark Webber.
The Lamborghini engine proving more capable as usual against the Ford Cosworth in the back of the Dams Lola, who is now under threat from Tom Coronel, and probably his last outing, or one of his last outings for BAR Audi. As for that, nothing is currently happening. Everything pretty much in place, with Bouillon just behind Glock, not able to make any inroads on the Germans' 4th position.
Yeah, it seems that the top 8, I'd say, is probably locked in, or the top 10, I'd say, is definitely locked into their positions, as Bouillon is just unable to mount a challenge to Timo Glock that's representative of making an overtake in the final couple of laps in this race. But for Nicolas Manassian, he may be able to have one last punt at getting past Mark Webber, although you can see the Red Bull, even in the slipstream, is ever so slightly pulling away from the Dams Lola Panos. Cosworth Power versus Lamborghini, and the Lamborghini Power comes out on top, with Mark Webber staying in 11th position. No points either for Jacques Villeneuve, nor for Riccardo Sperrifico. So that means that the battle, or the quote-unquote battle, Williams have started in the previous rounds have been pulling away from Toyota and BAR, but the battle between Williams, BAR and Toyota for 4th place in the Constructors is going to be put on hold here at Monza, as actually none of the 3 teams are going to be able to score points. I'd say it's been a disappointing race. If you're Riccardo Sperrifico, he was up there, up in the top 5, and his 3-stop strategy has just ruined any chance of him even beating Ralf Schumacher. As there you go, driver of the day, Ralf Schumacher, 2nd place only to Fernando Alonso, as Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the other Renault gets all mention there as well.
As the battle here is actually, well, could get interesting, because Alonso is just barely behind. But Alonso would need to be here already in order to help Bouillon. Bouillon has to do it on his own if he wants to get one. more spot on the road, and hopefully Alonso might leave it to be with lapping both of them, so Bullion has another shot next time round for him.
Oh, May 92. Well, your birthday is somewhere around this time, so if it's just been your birthday incoming. Great.
Oh, cool.
Well, can't wait to see or hear from that day then. I wish you happy birthday whenever that is. And Bullion's had to let his teammate through, and that's going to be any chance of Timo Glock taking fourth greatly extended, as out the final corner for Fernando Alonso. He's taking victory here to keep his championship hopes alive. Alonso across the line to win the 2004 Italian Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen across the line, and it's another brilliant podium, and it extends his championship lead as Michael Schumacher retires from the race. Now we all wait in bated breath as we wait for De La Rosa to make his way around these final couple of corners. Of course, Glock's supposedly pitting. I'm not exactly sure what that's for, but with De La Rosa and Glock both on the lead lap, and Bullion lapped, it is confirmed that there is an Opel podium. Unless De La Rosa retires in the next 20 seconds, it will be going the way of the Spaniard. Absolutely fantastic result. They've been building up to this all season long, and I think even then, when you look at the result, I don't think there could be a better, more, what am I trying to say? They've maximised this, basically. They've completely maximised it. Third and fourth, I don't think they could have done better in this race. And De La Rosa across the line. It's a first career podium for the Opel man. A fantastic result as Glock will make his way either into the pits or towards the line to score his first points of his Formula. He'll go into the pits. He still finishes fourth. So that's a fantastic race for Opel. 11 points on the board. And it massively helps them out in the constructors' standings. Renault slightly gain on McLaren in the constructors, as well as desperation for Ferrari most certainly sees them knocked out of not one but two championships as well. So, if you have enjoyed the stream, make sure to like and subscribe to it, as we have got plenty more of this season to go. We've still got 3 races left, including next week, where we will see the 2004 Chinese Grand Prix. And Nils, have you got anything to say about that race other than boo?
No. Was definitely an interesting race. Far better than previous iterations of this Grand Prix, but the championship fight is definitely now hotting up even further.
Well, with Michael Schumacher stunted with his win streak, it's now up to Raikkonen to hold on to his championship gap towards the end of the season. That's going to be all from us in today's stream, and goodbye.